What a disaster. What a disaster of a start of a show. I'm sorry that I'm back from the dead, from the flu. I'm turning off this fucking virtual background shit. None. I'm going to my office room in my house with my 3D printers and my fucking Lego helmet collection guys behind me. And that's where I'm going to stay. So I'm going to introduce this show now after being the amateur of the century tonight. It's fucking insane. Like I had problem after problem after problem after problem. All right, here we go. Here, let's just do this one instead. That's bullshit.
Welcome to Ballsh After Dark with your host, Sean Bradley.
There we go. How about that? Okay, here we go. I'm going to play the regular song now because you guys have missed it for so many weeks while I get my other screen together. Yeah, thanks a lot for being here with Amateur Hour with sick, almost better Sean Bradley on St. Patty's Day, by the way, wearing the Bravo Zulu green shirt with no green screen tonight, so I figured it was an opportune time to wear the green shirt.
That's bullshit.
Oh, here's Marshall from Tinley Park. Look at that. I hope that you have better things going on in Tinley Park than here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is, I don't know. But Jody's not there. And, you know, it'd be like old days, Marshall, if it was me and you and Jody Barnes and all the old school guys hanging out in Tinley Park. But now Tinley Park's all for the new guys, the guys that like have huge Instagram accounts and YouTube channels with more than 1,000 followers, which is not this one, by the way. We have almost 1,000. We're almost there. And with your help, maybe shortly we'll be a little bit further along. So I'm dropping sponsors like I'm dropping pounds being sick with the flu. So it's looking really open on the leaderboard of the bullshit advertising front here shortly. I haven't looked at my Patreon page in a week to see if anybody's dropped out of that. So, or even joined up to it because I'm so out of touch with everything. I've been mostly in bed since last Thursday when I had a scheduled podcast with Jason from Basement Balls. But we had to cancel that because, yeah, here he is. Almost there. Next Friday, bro. Next Friday, you will be on this here Bullshit podcast. Unless I'm sick again. Pardon any like things in my nose. Don't pay attention. I might keep my nose down like this. I'm going to look like all Mike Tyson podcast. I'm going to podcast like Palumbo. We'll keep my chin down tonight. So you're not looking at my gross nose, but you're definitely hearing that I've been sick. I'm not this capable of throwing my voice for this long. So, but yeah, let's talk about the sponsors that I think I might still have. I'm not really even sure. What the heck? Okay, yeah, view that tab. All right, here we go. Morph Market. Let's talk about Morph Market. MorphMarket.com. I never got an email from John in January saying that we don't want to sponsor you anymore. So I'm assuming I'm still sponsored by Morph Market. Then again, who knows? I have like 100 emails. Most of them are filled with junk. Most of them I don't check. And so if you haven't messaged me directly, text me or on Facebook, been like, hey, dude, check your messages. So you can tell that I told you to fuck off. You know, so Morph Market, I believe you're still on board. And if you are, you know, I love you regardless, whether you're on board with my show or not. But I have absolutely always adored John Lehman. I've been a big fan of this website forever, ever. And to see it incorporate so much more of the hobby has been such a dream to watch it prosper and to get all of us off of Facebook and shut out all of our auctions down and do all that fun stuff. So go check out the amazing 41 categories on morphmarket.com. And if your business is not listed on Morph Market, please get over there and fucking do it. It really needs to be done. You really need to get yourself on Morph Market. C-SERPENTS, reptiles and rack systems. I'm rack systems and incubators. I still say that same old thing. I talked to Chris right before Tinley. Chris is, of course, set up in Tinley this week. With a giant spread. So go see Chris at C-SERPENTS in Tinley Park and tell him thank you for sponsoring the Bullshit podcast. And I really appreciate him for everything he's done. And we are going to be building out the set at the building, at the new, at the EBN shop in the podcasting room. I'm going to be building the background behind me, behind where I sit in the studio. And it looks like we're going to be putting in a C-SERPENTS rack for some ball pythons. And we're also going to put in a hotbox incubator from him. And we'll be able to throw like a clutch or whatever that's from the rack into the incubator and be able to feature that whole thing as part of the podcast. I mean, I really kind of want to bring more of my novice customers and the novice, reptile keepers and stuff into this podcasting community, because I think here on Ballsh, not only can we share a lot of history and camaraderie of the business and the lifestyle of the business, but also I think it'd be really cool to just share in some of the wins, right? Like, let's up close, let's breed the snakes on a show. Let's feature that on a show. Let's ultrasound them on a show. Let's do that kind of thing, because, I like talking to guests and stuff, but I'd also like to show you more. So, and on that note, go check out Exotics by Nature, my company on Morph Market. We've got, 173 listings of a bunch of really awesome shit that you could check out. And, if you need anything, let me know. If you want to make me some offers, I'm definitely willing to deal on any of the colubrids, the corn snakes and stuff like that. If you want a corn snake deal, I will give you some great shipping deals and stuff like that right now on corns. So hit me up. All right. The regular breeder show sponsors, or I should say breeders. The first one's not a breeder. It's the newest sponsor, the ECLECTIVE Tattoo Collective. And that is Rickie Savage of Savage Constrictors as well, and his partners and other artists in the studio, Kelcie and Rick, Kelcie, Rick, and Jess. I'm sorry. And you can go check out their very lowly populated Instagram page for some examples of art, but they are in Florida and they are reptile people, and we would love to feature a show with them. So if you're a listener and you're in the area and you're interested in getting tattooed on a live Ballsh podcast show, we would like to do that with you. So reach out to the Tattoo Collective or to me, and maybe we can work that out, figure it out. ECOTHERMIC Dungeon. Good to have you, Jim. It was good to hear from you today, even though it was not the greatest of news. Jim is going to be moving across country to live closer to one of his children. And I think that's amazing. And I'm in support of it, even though he is going to drop me as a sponsor. But that's okay. It leaves it open for someone else to come in here and sponsor the podcast. And Jim's been with me for at least 6 months. And that's all I ask of any of my sponsors, is just stick with me for 6 months. That's it. That's all we need to do, is stick with me for 6 months. So thanks a lot to Jim for being awesome and sponsoring the podcast. Nathan Granoff, it's good to see you. I had an episode with Infinite Possible Pythons with Nathan. You can check it out on a previous episode of the Ballsh podcast. And we'll get to that another day whenever I host another guy. This guy, John Woodruff, I'd really like to get his ass on the podcast here. And, of course, he's in Tinley Park, I'm sure. And I'm sure he's living it up right now. Look at him there with Dave Kaufman. And it's good to see Dave. Dave traveled all over the fucking world this year. I wonder how many miles old Dave logged this year. He did pretty good in 2022. So I see he's pretty busy already in 23. Reptile Collective, Steve Beamer. I don't know where you're at. Maybe you're in Raleigh, North Carolina. And there's still a Raleigh show. What is that? Who runs a Raleigh show there? Why is my Instagram not logging me in properly? The North Carolina State Fairgrounds Raleigh show. So that'd be this weekend too. So go see my sponsor at the Repticon Raleigh show, the age-old Raleigh show. And we have here Savage Constrictors. Whoops, I closed the screen. Excuse me, guys. There we go. Here's Savages. There's the Savages. So you got Becca and Rickie, the tattoo guy, and go check them out. And finally, Strange Creations. Josh Strange, thanks a lot for sponsoring the podcast, bro. And let me bring on my man so I can turn off my microphone and cough for a minute. How you doing, Jody?
Good. How you doing, Sean?
That's how I'm doing, bro. I'm barely hanging in there, man. I'm on the mend, I think.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, man. When you get that crud, it seems like it never wants to go anywhere. I hate that crap.
Well, I can tell you, I've got what I like to what I've bragged about over the years as wheelchair immunity, right? Whatever's on the bottom of your shoes is on my hands all the time. I
Right.
make it a habit not to use hand sanitizer, and I only wash my hands once a day when I wash my hair, and I don't use antibacterial shampoo. So I basically am a petri dish of everything around me. Now, I've been out of the aquarium store since the summer. So I've been away from retail. I've been away from people. I've been away from the hustle and bustle, right? And I've been back into the shop building and working and, right? Working on the machines and stuff, doing CNC stuff and everything.
Yeah, I've been seeing that's cool stuff you've been doing with that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Like
and
the US ARC signs and stuff. That's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, and I actually brought them to an expo a couple weekends ago, which is where we picked up this funk, man. I mean, my daughter came down sick right after the show, and then I got it from her, and then I brought it to work and gave it to the new employee, and he's like practically in the hospital. He's like got his lungs down, and he's a kid, he's a teenager. So, I mean, if it took him down that hard, I mean, it took me down pretty hard, but I haven't been sick since 2020 when I was in the fish store when COVID reared its head in like February of 2020. Right. So I have not had a single lick of issues at all. I just breezed through it. But now I think my immune system just hasn't been around enough funk, and I just picked up whatever this was. I don't think it was COVID. I think it was probably like just flu.
Yeah, if being around funk will keep you from getting sick. I did some terrible evictions at work today. God,
oh man, bro. All right. So let's talk about this. Like, so you're a police officer, so you're in law enforcement, right? Yeah. And you've been in law enforcement how
long? I got my first job in '99, so 23 years.
Wow. Okay, 23 fucking years. Okay. So almost as long as you've been messing with snakes, then, right? Well, I guess you've been messing with snakes maybe longer than that. I don't even know. Like, how long have you been messing with this?
Yeah, I got my first ball python back in '93. So I'll just tell you the quick story how this went, man. It was pretty wild. My dad and I just laughed about it the other day. So around here, the pet stores have these ball pythons. They were like $100. Was about the average price for a normal back then. A small normal was $100 to $125. I took my mom to the pet store numerous times. Mom, I've got to get a snake. I've got to get a snake. My cousin had moved here from Dallas to Lubbock, and he was he'd gone to punt for the Texas Tech Red Raiders, and I idolized them. And so one day I walk in the mall. Now I've got my driver's license. Now fast forward, so I get my driver's license and stuff. Mom's still telling me no, and I had a 10-gallon aquarium in my house, and it had an undertake heater on it. And so and I'm walking by this pet store, and in the window there's a 20-gallon long tank, and it is full of ball pythons that were $24.99. Now I didn't know what I was getting into back then, but now I do. But I bought one of them things, and I put it in my room. I had this table that had these three, but it had like a tablecloth over it, and so I would put the snake under there, and I would bring it out in the daytime when my mom, and then when she would come home from work, I'd get home from school and go push it back under there. Well, several weeks into it, she found out what was going on because I accidentally forgot to put it up one night.
Oh man.
And so but the first weekend I got it, my aunt and uncle came to visit, and they still give me shit about that because I had that snake under there, and they were definitely afraid of that thing. And it was just a baby ball python. But anyway, my mom and dad, so I guess you're serious about this. You've been on it for months and months and months. And so, my mom said, well, parents always say this and this and this. Kids are going to take care of their animals. They're going to do this. She said, I will promise you that you will wear dirty clothes to school every day if you do not do your own laundry and take care of your stuff, because I am not going in there with that snake. I said, yes, ma'am. And I did it. And that was 1993. So fast forward 30 years, and I still am still keeping snakes. And I've worked with so many exotic animals and stuff. I got on with a friend here in town that's got an exotic pet shop, and I've done crocodilians and birds and insects and venomous stuff and large pythons and colubrids and prairie dogs. And I mean, I've done primates. I've done all kinds of stuff. So it's really been something that enjoyed working with exotic animals.
I'm actually thinking about taking EBN that direction right now.
Oh, really? And
Yeah,
as far
with
as
mammals. Yeah,
yeah,
we're discussing using the iguana facility that we've kind of retired from reptiles, and possibly using it for mammals, for like
oh yeah,
coatis and gennets and things like that.
oh yeah, we had when I
One
worked
of
at
my
that pet,
old friends, he's older than me. He's my cousin's age, so he'd probably be like 10 to 15 years older than me.
uh,
He's been a primate dealer, primate and exotic cat dealer in general, greater New Orleans. I'll just say greater New Orleans area. I mean, we have a lot of like questionably legal or basically illegal stuff here now,
right,
where the big cats were more or less put on a list of you can't own them anymore, and primates were also put on that same list, and there was no grandfathering in and stuff like that. So there's a fair bit of collectors that have moved to Mississippi and Texas and Arkansas, and like to where the gray area states where you can still keep things that don't have rules saying you cannot have this or
yeah,
whatnot. So this gentleman actually has been doing that kind of business for my lifetime, and I've kind of more or less stayed away from him. But his daughter and I ran into each other at the Reptile Expo a couple weeks ago, and I've been looking for someone to help me go out of town again because my employee won't travel with me. She doesn't travel outside of the area. She just doesn't travel outside of her area. She just doesn't like travel. So I need somebody that can get back on the road with me to go to Texas, to go, to hit some shows, to start getting rid of some inventory. And, she's currently running the gamut with mammals and mammal auctions and things like that. And it's
yeah,
interesting. It's interesting.
yeah. The guy that I worked with, he had a pair of leopard spotted genets. We did ringtail lemurs, we did quadamundis, we did macaque monkeys.
Exactly that. Like
Yeah.
basically that, not the primate part. I'm not really too keen on that. But yeah, I mean, we'd have to get USDA licensure and things
Mhm.
like that. But yeah, I mean, we would
Yeah, he
have
even got fossil
we're
lions
into
too.
that.
He actually was the first one to breed fossil lions in captivity in the United States, beat any zoo or anything.
Oh
And
wow.
oh yeah, he's got a setup at his house. It's amazing, man. Those fossil lions are so fucking cool, dude.
Well,
It,
and
it,
we come into that whole conversation of privatization versus public. You know what I mean? Like
right.
it comes down to like it's like medical science
Mhm.
or wait, aerospace. Like let aerospace be like such a fucking fabulous example of the private sector making incredible leaps and bounds over what anything government or organizational could ever do.
For sure,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
like
all the
like look at
homebrew aircraft
Elon.
and stuff.
Elon is now landing the ass of a rocket. So NASA's like, fuck it, we're not going to make rockets. Like, why would we make a rocket? Like, we're going
Yeah.
to hire Elon to make a rocket, and we're going to be like, hey, let's put our shit on his rocket
Yep.
because our rockets splash and go in the trash. Splash and trash, right? I mean,
Yep.
splash and trash rockets are kind of like a thing of the 1980s at this point, and it's like,
Mhm.
fuck it, right? So, at what point do you let? But then, like with reptiles, we have legislation, of course. We have to chant to, US ARC. So Jody and I aren't going to be in the room tomorrow night, but for those of you that are in the room, spend a lot of money. Please raise a lot of money for US ARC tomorrow night. I want to hear that total hit like 200 grand one of these days at a Tinley auction, because if a ball python is 5 digits, then the Tinley fucking US ARC auction should easily double. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if that's how if that's how you guys are going to play it, if all you guys are going to make double the money in this game, like now, then you need to go spend double the money at the auction.
Sure.
And that's it. Donate. So,
Right.
and then that's the point of that whole thing. So, but the legislation, of course, is crushing us and keeping us down.
Right.
How do you feel about it? Like from what you've like, obviously 1993 till now,
Right.
it's like we feel pressure. Like you and I have been around each other for decades
Mhm.
together, and we've experienced, different lives, completely different lifestyles, and completely different personal struggles. But our business and our pet struggles have been identical.
Right.
You know,
So as far as legislation and stuff, I this is one thing. the guy was saying about the on the exotic pet store, and there was about 3 guys within that deal that really mentored me and brought me up as far as dealing with all exotic animals. And I think that some of us guys, so like if you go to a reptile show, there's definitely different types of people there. You see all kinds of people there.
Oh, for sure.
But I think
says a cop.
yeah,
Says a cop. All right.
right.
I don't want to hear about it, right? I don't like the last show, the last Tinley show I was at was the spring of 19. And I brought my friend who helped me build my reef store, who was a lieutenant for 25 years and ran a courthouse. So he ran a courthouse. So he was used to eyeing people up, right? Running a courthouse. I'm like, bro, all you do is people watch. That's all you fucking do. Like, you don't even give them tickets. Like, you don't even give them tickets. You just literally sit there and watch them, and that's it.
Yep.
Like, you could bring them right to jail. It's not even the process, But he was, when you brought him to the reptile show, he was like, all right, this is a different group of people. Right. So yeah, I hear that from a cop's point of view. You do have a lot of eclectic differences.
For sure. Yeah, you'll have people with colored hair and tattoos and piercings, and then you have the everyday guy that looks more like me and you. You have people that have a lot of money. You have people that don't have a lot of money. This hobby attracts a lot of different people. And the way I feel about the legislation that comes about is personally, I've kind of taken it as one of the old guys on the block, to pass on what I felt was good knowledge to me. It's like I have these animals for my enjoyment, and I'm always excited to share them with somebody, but I'm not always excited to force them onto somebody. And I was always told, don't go out in public with your snakes around your neck, because you go and scare the hell out of Susie grandma, and then she's got thousands and thousands of dollars in the bank, and she goes to her local legislator, or her starting with your city councilman or your state representative or whatever, and says, hey, guess what, this happened and this is ridiculous. And she's right, it is ridiculous. I mean, because we don't do this to scare people. It's not funny. And then she's got a lot of money, and this guy's like, you know what, I'm going to go back her because that's a pretty sensible thing. I think most people will get behind me, and we lose the rights this way. And so I've always taken it upon people, and try to, in a nice way, to tell people, hey, you need to be responsible and learn that these animals are to keep for yourself. They're not to keep so that you look like Billy Badass walking down the street with a snake on your, because you're not, because you're not like doing something that what other people can conceive as dangerous is not really, you're not really doing anything spectacular or that you should write home to mom about. So I think that from my standpoint has always been try to educate the new folks and try to get them to be sensible and everything with their ownership of the animals, and realize how responsible ownership goes, so that we don't put ourselves in the eyes, because in my law enforcement job, I'm an elected county official. I'm actually on the ballot every 4 years on the presidential ballot.
Right.
And so I work with the guys that make the ordinances, and I work with these folks on a daily basis, and I know exactly how they feel about things, and I know exactly what goes through their mind. And all it takes is one little something to trigger them, and to get going, to get a movement behind them. And they say, oh yeah, you know what, I can make some hay with this, and they're going to go make hay. And unfortunately, if we don't do things right, we are a very easy thing to make hay out of.
Right, exactly. And so like that coming from the paraplegic, when he says that foot forward in the responsible way, right? Be a stand-up guy, they say. Put your right foot forward, they say, right? I mean, look, I honestly, you do want to take that next step of success, but you want that step to be one of an ambassador. One of an absolute, like, in other words, you guys, for all you guys out there, I'm gonna shout out to Derek's Reptiles for having his screaming YouTube channel come up in the world. You're a badass with your snakes, sir. Yeah, well, get more snakes, Derek. You need to get more snakes. Guy's got like 5 snakes. He's got more time to podcast than he does snakes. That's all I have to say. Get more snakes. But in the grand scheme of the laws and stuff, that's, I have that same flag I like to fly, that when I could not bear to see the photos of the people on Instagram and Mardi Gras 2 weeks ago with the snakes out, because the weather was decent. Like, and the weather wasn't even that great, bro. Like, it wasn't even that fucking great. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't as bad as it could be. Like, dude, it's probably 38 degrees outside right now, which is not that cold to most of you in the country, but to Louisiana in March, it was literally 85 degrees a few days ago. And it's like 38, 40 degrees outside right now. So, like, to have a holiday where it's the sun's shining, but it's still fucking 65 degrees outside, and I saw a Burmese on a parade route on pictures. I saw a retic on Bourbon Street in pictures. I saw rainbow boa out in the weather. I saw and I'm like, dude, when I go on Instagram and I see all these people flaring up over New Orleans and, Mardi Gras, well, yeah, fucking right. Enjoy it and everything, but leave your shit at home. Leave your snakes at home. If Mardi Gras was in the middle of the fucking summer, I'd still be telling you to leave your shit at home.
Right.
I'm just thankful that sometimes it's cold and wet and rainy.
Right. Yeah.
And they're just like, but you're still going to see something out, even in the cold, wet rain. I guess if it was an albino Burmese, who cares, right? Because it's got a chronic respiratory infection genetically inbred into it, or something like that, right? Like, oh, it's got basically permanent nido. Fuck it. Let's bring it out and let people handle it, But I have a mixed bag on that, bro. Like, I have a real mixed bag on that. Like, there's only a few people that I'm like, okay, you're gonna like rent a booth at a local farmer's market just to bring your snakes out, just to show people and educate them. I can get behind that a little bit, even if you're taking pictures with the snakes and charging them for the photographs.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because it's got kind of like that flea market, that Repticon, like dude with the 13-foot berm at Repticon. It's like $5 photos, bro, $5 photos, and that's it. $5 photos. Like, he's just standing on the corner flipping a fucking sign with a camera, for $5 photos with my berm.
Damn carnival, man.
I do. When you go to Herps and you go to Repticon, it's not a Herps thing. It's not a well, I don't know. It is kind of a Repticon thing, but it's not a Herps sanctioned thing. It might be a Repticon sanctioned thing. But really, like, when you get in the dredges of reptile shows, you do have the $5 photos, like with his Burmese. Like, you have it every fucking show. There's a fucking, even if it's a piece of cardboard with some Sharpie on it, $5 photos, and like, it's still there. And the guy does, but it's not that the $5 photos are really helping him make a mint. It's that he has the ego to be there with the snake that he's placing on 100 people to take a photo with. Like, and so I'm mixed bag, bro. Again, mixed bag. Like, I got a couple people on this whole in my head right now that are big in the scene of bringing snakes out in public, and I'm not a supporter.
No,
I'm not a supporter.
I just, like I said, I'm just not going to do it. And you see, some people's like, I took my baby snake for a ride today. Look, bro, your snake don't care.
Unless it's a ball python and it's not eating. And it's some stupid shit. You're trying to stress it out to get it to eat. I mean, really, like, unless it's that, really leave your shit at home, know? And and on the last note on this, I'd like to tell you guys, when you go to reptile shows too, when you buy your shit, leave it in the containers you bought it in. Don't take it out of the bag. Don't take it out of the deli. Don't put it in your hands. Like, I mean, again, this show is more of a boring, like, pros listen to show type thing. But I do run into people at expos that are like, bro, I checked out your podcast and I learned a lot, even though it's just talk and it's just, whatever. You're not showing me much, but when you do go, keep that shit in the cup, and when you sell them something, even if they want to hold it, tell them, put it in the bag, leave it in the bag, because that's the one thing you don't want to have happen, right? You don't want to go home and have that person be like, oh, you gave me mites. And you'd be like, no. I watched you walk around the show and let 30 kids hold your snake.
Yeah. You're gonna somebody there gave you mites, but it damn sure wasn't me, because I saw your shit out at 10 different tables or something like that, and
well, because you can watch the kids at the shows. Go to every single table. Can I hold it? Can I hold it? Can I hold it? Can I hold it?
Yeah, and I hate to be that asshole guy that says no, but like,
I'm the asshole guy that says no.
Yeah, but I hate to be that guy, but I am. Yeah, I hate to be that guy, but I am. Right. Like,
unless I have an outreach person there with me. If I have someone there with me to do educational hands-on, we bring a snake, like a big corn snake or a ball python that we don't want, that we don't necessarily need,
right?
That we know for a fact we can get rid of at the show, or something like that, right. Like where we don't have to worry about like where we're telling somebody, look, this snake's been handled throughout the show. Take it home, quarantine it, let me know how it does. But we don't have to take it home and quarantine and let you know how it does.
Yeah, right.
Because it's a little bit harder for us. So, versus somebody else. And look, I've never had somebody take one of those show animals home and call me back afterwards and be like, oh, this thing's fucking sick. No, this thing's... Never. I've never had that happen. But then again, I'm also responsible about the people I just let hold something too. If we do have somebody there for outreach, they're not just letting everyone touch it. Like, they're not just doing that. They're doing it for children. They're doing it for people, you know, especially special needs. If there's anyone there that's like sensory overload, bro, I bring 3D prints now. I bring these articulated, look, this fucking thing right here. This little fucking, this shit. I print this shit with my daughter. It's just little, like, you know, moving toys. We bring these to reptile shows. You would not believe I sell out of my 3D prints on Saturday by the end of the show.
Really?
Most all of them. Yeah, I sell usually 20 to 30 prints on Saturday. Wow. For people that have kids that want something that can't have it, that are too young, that can't own it. We print all kinds of shit, frogs, and I printed my daughter a slug, like a grub worm, like an almost pupated dude. It completely moves. The whole thing's completely articulated. It's like this long, and there's like 50 different pieces to it.
Oh, really?
And it prints all at once. You know, it prints one piece splayed out like this, flat on the board. And then you just lift it off the board, and it's flexible and it's together. So the kid can't even break it apart, you know? Like, I tell them, if you separate it, you broke it. Like, we didn't put it together. It printed like this. If you separated it, you broke it. And we also print at the show as well. Yeah, see, Janice saying knows you really well at our shows too. And we have a guy that prints at the show. You can watch. It's amazing. I bring my printer to the show, dude, and people are just like, what the fuck? That's so cool. And it's like, dude, that's one I'm right there behind me with the spool on it. I mean, it's little bitty. That one prints a 7-inch box, and you can buy it for $500 right out the box. It prints, you know, it just takes forever. I mean, this model right here took probably like 5 or 6 hours to print.
Oh, really?
You know? Yeah, it takes forever to print. But when it's, you know, it always runs, bro. You can run it nonstop. So,
yeah,
you know, it's one of the things that's really nice about that. But yeah, like, it's you know, it's kind of cool to bring that kind of stuff to shows, to have for the kids that want to touch shit. And it's like hands-on, play with it and mess with it. And we print out snakes and, you know, all kind of shit like that too, you know, reptile related stuff. Right. Paul McIntyre from Florida, he's now doing the Repticons, dude. He's doing a full end cap of just 3D prints now, which I think is kind of ridiculous, because I think you need to have reptiles at a reptile booth. But whatever.
Yeah. I mean,
when you go to a Repticon, they got the guy in the back that's like resurfacing tubs, right? And like the guy that re-roofs your, sprays the fucking like rhino shield on your roof, right?
Yeah.
They got those guys at Repticon now. Like, Repticon does these co-ops with these other, you know, companies where they let them have spots in the show. It's garbage though. Yeah. You know, it's junk. But for the toy people, at least for the 3D printer people, the 3D printer people seem to mostly be reptile people that are just doing that because it does itself, you know?
Right.
But I enjoy having it for kids to mess.
I like that.
You know?
I like that. And you know, I like the way that you do it, the special needs kids and stuff. I have a cousin that's special needs, and the last time we were at a show together in Arlington, and she came up and King was letting her hold a few animals and stuff like that probably normally, but I mean, that's a perfect time to be the ambassador with the animals and stuff like that. And
absolutely.
And so they ended up with a banana ball python, and they're doing well with it and everything like that. So, you know, that's what the that's a good spot to be with that, and letting people hold snakes stuff. That's the right way to do it, I think.
Yeah, and I do see a lot of the younger ball python crowd. So for a Bullshit After Dark comment, to shout out to all you guys that are in the scene that are, you know, to keep this on track of a ball python type show. I'm really proud of a lot of you younger guys and how you're really targeting the youth. I mean, some of them are going to shows and they're giving stuff, you know, giving snakes away to people that are proving that they have proper setups, normals and things. They're not freezing them off. They're not shipping them off for a Cobra diet. You know, they're not doing that kind of shit. They're actually using them for outreach and stuff like that. So if you're out there and you're doing that, you're listening to me say this, you know, take it as a has-been or whatever. you know, I praise you for that, because I think it's so much more useful to take those animals and bring them out to public and allow the people that wouldn't normally have an opportunity. Yeah, maybe there's some kids that ride by pet shops for $24.99 and sneak the shit under the bed. You know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah.
that happens at reptile shows. I mean, the last time we did it, she was 17 and she was
Right.
like, but my dad's going to cut its head off. And her brother was like, no, he's not. He's not going to do that. He talks shit. He told me he was going to cut my lizard's head off. And I brought that fucking lizard home when I was your age and he didn't do shit, you know? And she's sitting there and she's like, but I'm scared he's going to cut its head off. And I'm like, I don't think he's going to cut its fucking head off either, you know?
Right.
And so I'm like being the devil's advocate over here. I'm like being the devil on her shoulder with her brother, with her older brother, who I know, and I see her older brother all the time, you know,
Right.
and her older brother's like, bro, you know, if my dad's not going to let her keep that, I'm just going to take it. Right. And I'm like, yeah, I know. That's why I'm not worried. That's why I'm not like, oh, you can't buy this unless you have your, you know, because she was 17. She wasn't 18 years old, you know. And I was just like, it's fucking Louisiana. Nobody gives a shit, right? I mean, I was like, he's not going to cut his fucking head off. And I just saw him at the show this weekend, and she bought the snake. This was like 6-8 months ago. She got the snake. And I'm like, did he cut his fucking head off? And he was like, no. He doesn't. He didn't do that. That's his little girl. He's not going to hurt her feelings. He's like, she'll leave the house and never talk to him again. She's like, he's never going to do that. He just talked a big fat game. Now she wants to start breeding snakes, right? Now she wants to, and so you're like, okay, you know, maybe I did a good thing. You know, I don't really know, but
yeah, I'm thinking we got a show coming up next weekend. Be doing a Show Me Snakes show over in Odessa, Texas, and I've got a couple of male normal pieds, male normal het pieds. One of them's got a badass ringer, it's really nice color, but I'll take those over there, and inevitably there'll be someone come by that you know has a setup or is, you know, something like that or something. And if that opportunity arises, they'll find new homes. I've been feeding them for a year. I'm ready to get rid of.
Well, it's shit, and it's important to be able to do that too, though. Like it's important to, you can't. I don't. That's part of the thing. Like crossing the streams here with the mammal people. The morality to me is a little bit different. Like, you know, some of them are pretty harsh with the livestock end of it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like pretty harsh. Like, oh, that doesn't look right, or that's hoof is sideways, or that thing is this way, and it's just gone. Like, just that's it, done. You know, and it's really hard for me with a reptile because of the resilience. Like, I could see if it was a mammal and it had some sort of a developmental issue where it couldn't survive on its own or couldn't feed on its own, couldn't defecate or clean itself or take care of itself in some way. But with snakes and lizards and stuff being so resilient, it's like, oh, it's kinked. How could you really just throw it in the freezer? You know, if, oh, it's got a fucked up leg, how could you really just toss it like that or feed it to something else, you know? So like it's a little funny, bro. Like I'm looking at this shit and, you know, it's weird. You meet a fucking, you know, 18, 19-year-old girl. It's like, oh yeah, dude, if it doesn't produce and it doesn't earn for itself, it's fucking done. Like it's gone. And I'm like, whoa, you know, like, wow, you know, to see like that mentality on something, you know, but it's the livestock people too, though. It's that whole mentality of, you know, to cull it is to do a good thing. Right. Like, and I'm not a sheep herder or a horse breeder or a cow rancher. I'm not that guy. I've never been that guy. So I look at my livestock more as like precious cargo than particularly livestock, you know? And so it's a little funny. It's a little weird. So so where's your collection headed these days? I mean, you know, you kind of just got in and did the exotic pet thing and geeked out on that for a while and just kept pieds going, and that's pretty much it, or what would you?
So just pieds and you know, kind of like you were talking about at in the intro to the show. I've kind of found my niche is more the beginning hobbyist, the person looking for the high-end pet type of thing.
Okay, hold on a minute. It's like a fucking Jessica's comment. Most goats make better tacos than goats. All right. Most goats make better tacos than goats. Okay. I guess that meant that she laid it all out. That's it. She solved the fucking problem right there. It's right there on the end. You're better in the bun than you are on the ranch. I get it. Okay. I get it. All right. Very practical. Take it from a Northwestern chick, moved to Texas, it didn't take long for you to lose entirely all of your heart. No, I'm kidding. I'm fucking with. She just had a whole show today on females, and I don't even know. I didn't watch it. I did not watch the holdback today. I was trying to catch up on some work today after being sick for a fucking week and a half. So yeah, sorry, ladies, and I missed your show. But anybody that has not checked out the Holdback Rack podcast that comes to this podcast, please go and take some of their subscribers and give them to me. I only need like 70 or 80 more to get to 1,000, but these bitches are gonna beat me because they're better at their game than I am, and they're very good. So check them out if you haven't checked them out, Jody. It's a fucking killer podcast. It's gonna be like all the shit. It's gonna be them and the fat man, and that's gonna be, and then Brian. I saw Brian in here earlier. Brian, you still with me on this here Friday night? I'm gonna scroll back and see if I can find reference to the people I'm talking about. Since I didn't announce any of you guys tonight, I was so fucking behind and so messed up at the beginning of this show. Like I'm dialing way back in the comments to see who was even here earlier. And yeah, I saw Samson was in the house wherever he is. Yeah, there he is. Happy St. Patty's Day. Samson, if you're still, Brian, if you're still with me, you know, Brian will be on every Wednesday morning complaining about nothing. If MJ ever goes away, Brian will have no show. Like I fucking love, I love fucking Brian.
He'll get started on me.
He'll get started on you.
Yeah, there's no love lost there. I promise you.
Oh yeah.
No love.
You friendly or not friendly?
No.
No, not friendly.
No.
Oh shit! Really? Okay. All right then. All right then. Brian will get like between MJ being out of business or something. Brian will never ever even talk about.
I mean, I'll be nice to him. I just didn't care for a couple things. But anyway,
it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. I mean, he's definitely got his spot. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt he's made his. He's got his little spot with his fucking pin hat and everything, and I got no problem with the dude at all. I mean, he could use a little help on his clickbait titles, but whatever. I mean, that's whatever. He gave me a chance to say what I needed to say, so that's all. But yeah, so like that's it. And I'm not wishing cancer on anyone, and I wish the best for Barchak and his family.
Yeah.
And I have spoken to him, texted with him a little bit back and forth this past week, and it's been good. It's been great. To talk, and we both agree mutually that silence keeps wounds open. So for anybody else out there that's gone through a long process of bad blood with someone, I would like to say that talk about it. If you won't talk about it and they will, and you're the problem, you're not part of the solution. So be a part of your own solution and be willing to talk about it. So it's really good that he and I are on some speaking terms and stuff now. So at least we can share our situations, because it's been a rough time, bro. It's been a tough fucking couple months. I mean, it's been like a few tough couple months, years. I mean, for me, it's been a tough decade. It's been a solid tough decade. I'm not gonna lie. You know that. You've been around me. What's up, Antoine? What's going on? See, look, Antoine lost his fucking Instagram. All this shit goes on. Yeah, I mean, some shit, man. Like just the fucking negativity is all around us, man. Between sickness and bickering and bullshit, and and my Friday night opinion on Jay Brewer having a TV show is, what's the big fucking surprise? I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, honestly, at this point, it's probably better that he isolate himself to a network somewhere than being on everything with everyone else in the field. That's my point of view. Like, isolate his activity to Discovery or to Nat Geo or to whatever, right? Like, in my respect, like, you're isolating him away from the rest of us.
Mm-hmm.
In that respect. Like, I don't know. That'd be my opinion if I'm gonna like jump all over fucking the current J news, because that's where everybody's up in arms this week.
Yep,
you saw that show. You've seen it. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, I saw all that stuff this week, and man, I mean,
We again, ambassador, right foot forward,
Yeah,
stand up guy, right?
That failed. That failed miserably on that. That was a miserable
Yeah,
fail on
right.
that guy.
Well, yeah, and at some point, he's not the only one that's bided for a TV show.
Right.
He's not the only one that struggled to try to have a TV show. Fuck, look at Robbie and his brother. I mean, if anybody was not going to give anybody a TV show, I mean, look, Robbie Kesey is not going to watch this fucking channel.
Right.
I'm sorry. You know, I mean, he might pick up one every now and then. Somebody might tag him here and be like, bro, Robbie, Sean dropped your ass on the microphone. You know, but I'm like, bro, when you gave him and his fucking stupid ass brother who had nothing to do with the animal world a TV show called Swamp Brothers and you fucking just let them be whatever the fuck. Like, are you really surprised? Like, you get what you get, right? Like,
Right.
You get that old Florida reptile mentality. But see, now you got Jay coming with a show. Everybody's talking about that this week. Nobody's really talking about Reptile King that's coming, right? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
who's on that one?
So that's Hank Molt's show that I assume has to do with Tom Crutchfield with the Van Nostrans. Now that Mike's out of prison, you better believe they're filming Mike, you know, from Strictly. So, you know, you guys, I mean, I'd like to hear what you like to say in the comments. You know, I mean, it's not anything against Jody's opinion or whatever, but it is a time in our lives as reptile people, as reptile hobbyists, as reptile podcasters, the media of this industry, if you will. You know, Antoine has thousands of people that listen to him like he's at a pulpit sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm a fan of that, big fucking fan of that guy, you know, and a big fan of what he stands for. But I can sleep knowing that he has a keyboard and a microphone and a YouTube channel and such, right? Some of these fucking guys, they give me a little bit of a weird feeling.
You will look at what they're going to say.
You know, now I'll give Timothy Frison some showtime, right, with the Good for Jay Brewer. So there you go. That's a very interesting throw out there because not very many people are saying that.
No, I've heard nothing positive about it. So
no. Basement, super scary for what comes from this show. Super scary from what comes from any show. I mean, I don't see the Tiger people really taking a big hit from Joe Exotic. But Joe Exotic is in himself more of an embarrassment to anyone that looks anything like him in height, race, color, creed, profession, or whatever he does. Like, in other words, if he's at the grocery store and he's checking out bananas, everyone in every store in the world that's looking at bananas is offended at that moment. That's what I'm saying. Like, at that moment, like me watching Tiger King, when I'm like, I know that guy, I know that guy, and I know that guy. Bro, I just checked 3 boxes on people I know on this fucking show. If I know this many people on this show, take stock in my life and what I stand for and what I've done with it and people, right? Because at least you could say they rode in the back of the car.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to give you a story of how we went to a strip club once. That's different stuff. I guess you're not going to give me that story. You're not going to tell me, you know, dude, you would believe who I arrested. And then we had dinner, right? You're not, it's just not that way. So like when I'm associated with people, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like we are at a moment when, Joe was depicted as a psychopath. But isn't anyone that keeps an animal that can rip your employee's arm off through the side of an enclosure when they're walking past? I mean, come on. Like, I know I'm talking about a couple of people in the room. And look, I'm sorry. I don't like big women. I don't like big animals. I don't like anything that weighs more than me, bro. Like, that's it. if I can lift myself in and out of a wheelchair, in and out of the shower, in and out of my car, then I'm good. Lifting this much weight. Aside from this much weight, bro, I'm not good. I'm just not good. So that's just my point. You know, and Tim, I'm with you there. After working in a reptile shop, there's not much that shocks you. You're right. And at that point, you really have, you know, you have someone that has not just a reptile shop, bro. This is a party mecca. This is a place that's been rented out for shows. this scene that Jay is already done. Like, to be honest with you, I'm kind of shocked he didn't get a show a decade ago. Like, I don't really understand why Discovery, when they were shopping Barchak, why they didn't shop him against him and already go there. Like, I really don't know. I don't, unless now it's more accepted because his daughter is so much more active in it, and there's a female face that they can,
that might be
that can put in there. I don't really know. Like, I'm looking at it like, because when Barchak was going through all his shit to get a show, he had his wife, he had his kids were younger, and they weren't really working in the business, but he had a wide array of employees and stuff. But it wasn't anything like he has now. Like, when Barchak wanted a show, it was just a breeding facility. It would be like somebody giving Nerd a show right now, where Donnie and Nerd do great shit, but they do not do mainstream Discovery Channel shit.
Mm-hmm.
No, they don't. They can't. Like, they don't have the dynamic for it. They got Rob. He's fucking crazy with all his piercings and shit, and the other dude with the tattooed face, and they got their people, right? All the venomous snakes and everything. But at the end, it's still just a facility. Now Brian's got the Reptarium. He's got the back room. He could do a show. If he went for a Discovery show now, I would think he'd be a shoo-in for it the way he did back then. But, the fact that Jay's the first one of us that's going to get it, but the retic people are probably going to take the hosing.
Yeah, it was, I think you're right about Brian. I think the only thing that kept Brian from going to that, to getting that Discovery show is because, when he did Snakebites, they did all the little skits with Chewie and all those guys and everything like that. But that was like made up, I guess, kind of. And I enjoyed the content. But here's the deal: like, a large part of their content was just taking animals out and showing them and taking them and showing them. And so only if you knew the genetics and you understood what was going on did it really make a difference. I could pull out a 5-gene het pied female to somebody and they're like, oh yeah, great, congratulations. You're like, that's really cool. You're like, you don't understand. And I think that's part of, why he didn't get it then. But like, you're right, now he would be a shoe in to get whatever he wanted. With the diversification.
There's so much more. Yeah, he's so much more there, having the gators and all the other shit that,
Yeah, because Brian's show wouldn't have been for a novice back then. And that's when, Snakebites was that's the first show I actually met you at. Whenever you and I met was the first show, and you probably don't remember because I was like,
I was the Arlington show where he did that best in show one.
Yeah, but this was way, I'm talking about years back, bro. The whatever year it was, I don't remember that Barchak, the first show that he debuted Snakebites at and sold shirts was in Arlington, and you were there. And this was years before the accident and everything, bro. This was
no, this is me and Celia. This is when Celia and I were together.
Yep. And
Barchak did a video of the show, and he did like the top 5 booths in the show or something, and we got number 1, right? We won the Snakebites top booth in the show. The only time he ever did that.
Yeah, and that was the first show I met you.
First season of Snakebites.
That was the first show I met you. That was the first show I met Brian.
Tim Bailey was at that show. Yeah, he vended that show with Mike Pinnell with Pythons on a Pear Tree Mike. Back when Mike had that long white hair.
I wish I knew a lot of the people back then that I knew now. Like, I wish I was connected back then because I was still like relatively new in the hobby and I had never been to a show or.
It's a great time.
Yeah, man,
it was the first time I brought Angolan pythons into Texas. I remember first time showing a lot of people a lot of cool shit at that show because Tim had gone to the previous one and told me how advanced it was. And I was like, well, it's an NARBC. It should be advanced, but I just been through so many shit shows in Dallas, bro. Back when Bonnie had those shows and those fucking semi-truck motels and shit. We used Kevin Ellison from K&N Reptiles and I used to come up and do those Dallas shows all the time. And after a while, bro, 9-hour ride for fucking $500 wasn't really worth coming,
Yeah.
And so it was just not really great to do. And then whenever that came along, wow, it was
that was amazing.
That was insane. Like, we went to that show that time and Brian was doing that episode and he was like, man, what do you think I ought to do? I need to get content. And I was just like, man, you ever do like a show contest or something? And that's what he said. He's like, oh, let's do it. He's like, you want to be one of them? I was like, yeah, be me and the chameleon guy over there and this dude over here. And, you know, Celia helped him pick all the tables out, you know, because there was some really, really good people there, man. And it was really a tough crowd. And, you know, for us, but we did have a killer spread because you just didn't have anybody else regionally coming to it that had that kind of swing. You know, we were 9 hours away, bro. We could load up the Suburban and get there. And man, we had swing. We had every fucking thing. We had high-end lizards. We had high-end reptile, you know, snakes. We had all kind of shit. So it was cool.
Yeah, you were a lot diversified where a lot of folks were you were really diversified where a lot of folks were like streamlined down to one thing. I think that and that was the first show where I met also too David and Tracy at that show. And
because that was the only show you can ever see her at.
Yeah, that's still
till now.
Yeah,
to this very day. I mean, pretty much. She does like one or two others, but not many. Like she did the Herp show in Conroe a couple of times and stuff with us. But I mean, again, go to a Conroe show or something and Tracy Barker just falls in the room of a group of people from Texas that are breeding snakes. You know, you go to NARBC, you're like, that's Tracy Barker. You know, it's fun. Like, yeah, it's one of those moments where you don't really get to see them and you don't really understand how some people just don't want to drive to fucking Tinley Park with their animals. Some people don't want to go to Pomona.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I mean, one of these days I would like to make the Tinley show. But I watched the show that you did with Knacker about that. And you talked about the difference between an NRBC show and the aquarium show and like how they set up all week and you have all these days and everything. And I'm going to tell you that I like, the format of the NRBC. I wish they could change it a little bit, but I almost wish there was a little bit bigger spot that we could have it in because it was so. This last show in Dallas was just
that congested, huh? It was.
So what happened was Emily and Evan from Snake Discovery. That's right, their names, Emily and Evan. Yeah. Okay, they were there, and dude, they did this pirate theme, bro, and there was like 5,000 pirates at the show. Wow. And it literally, the line literally went up through the middle of the show and back around and out the front where they put the deal and all the way down to the doors. And I mean, we're talking about at 1 o'clock. That's what the line was to get to see Emily and Evan. And the vendors were like, gosh, dude, like we can't get anything done because these people are standing out. Anytime you wanted to cross over, like if
that's a problem then. Yeah. If they blocked up aisle, if they blocked up business and stuff, that's bad news. So did you address that with Potter and Ashley and stuff about it? Did anybody?
I only saw Potter one time and he was like crazy busy. And I was on an in and out trip. I went up there I traded a couple of snakes. We got some rack cages. I bought a little rack from Chris. And
we got to be mindful of that kind of stuff, man. Cause you know, like that was like Aquashella has fucked up a couple things big time.
Yeah.
With that in Dallas, especially they fucked up that Dallas show a couple of years ago. That was so huge. And you had people that pre-ordered VIP tickets months in advance, turned away at the door on Saturday for overcrowding and made to wait in the parking lot for 3 or 4 hours before they could get in. Some of them didn't even get in. Like, dude, and you're blocking up vendors and stuff. Yeah, that's not good. You know, I mean, the social media people are really starting to bring a lot of heat into the business. That's good, right? I mean, I'm not saying heat from a bad perspective, but they're bringing in a lot, but at the same time, to hinder everybody else's business is not too cool. So yeah, they gotta figure that out.
Yeah, they're gonna have to figure that out. And I was just kind of looking at the setup. You can't go down one wall because there's one vendor that's been that basically takes the whole back wall from where you come in at, and then the front wall by where you come in at is always Missouri, and Wilbanks has like 7 tables.
Wilbanks has that whole group.
Right, it has that whole freaking wall, like 3/4 of it. What they should have done was just like make a loop on that one wall. Then people could have waited in line for 10 hours. I don't care. That's their business. They want to do it. But they could have made a loop on that wall. But the thing about it is, you know, you really can't set them up somewhere outside the hall because I mean, you got to think about it from Potter's standpoint, bro. I mean, he brought in an extra 2,000 or 3,000 people at $15 a head. I mean, he's like, come on with it. You know what I mean? Because that's a lot.
Sure.
That's a lot of money.
So Mike Narita said that they did address it and they moved Ed and Emily out front. So
maybe they did on Sunday.
Okay, well that's good, and I mean that's really good that they would do that and they address it. I'm sure they are always great at addressing things like that. I mean, they can't accommodate everyone. So for those of you that are out there that have a motherfucker gripe to say about the Potter, Bob Ashley regime over at NARBC doing the best they can with the monster they never thought they'd ever have on their hands. I mean, honestly, at this point, it's like, wow, this thing really got to be out of hand. Like, this thing really got out of control. And considering now you have 3 Chicagoland area shows a year.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like I remember when he used to bitch about all the little shows happening all the time. And now it's like, wait a minute, instead of little shows happening all the time, you got big shows happening all the time.
Well, that's one thing I'd said about those. One thing I'd said about those big shows, hey, if the Super Bowl came around 5 times a year, it wouldn't mean what it means. If the Olympics were more often than once every 4 years, it wouldn't mean nothing. They need to cut back
but
on
the
each
problem
other.
is here, though, our retail public will not satiate our client base.
Right.
Our retailers will not satisfy us. That is an absolute gripe that I will have, and I can have, motherfucker, because I was a retailer for a decade in reptiles. Then I was a retailer in aquariums for 3 solid years. And I can tell you right now, you're not a part of the solution. You're a part of the problem when it comes to that. And if you have retailers in your area that are willing to cater to you, please patronize them and go help them make their business bigger. Encourage people to open reptile stores in your area. When I closed Exotics by Nature in 2010, no one ever opened a reptile shop in Louisiana ever again. They opened a reptile specialty fish store with dog stuff and a bird and some rabbits. No, I'm talking about a reptile fucking store. But now reptile shows are the retail entirety. And if you're not ordering online, you're not ordering from Pangea Direct, you're not ordering from Reptile Basics, you're not ordering from, right? You follow me? You're not ordering from an in-industry supplier from home. You're buying from Amazon, maybe. That doesn't count so much, even though some of the Amazon sellers may be us.
Right.
Amazon's still taking a pretty prideful chunk.
Yeah.
Right. But when I'm talking about, like, when you're in the aquarium industry, you go to fish shows, you go to coral shows to buy coral from people you wouldn't normally meet and you wouldn't normally be able to see with your own eyes and trust and buy it right there on the spot. You go to a dog show to see a dog run around a ring, to know what breeder to give your deposits to in the next 5 years to maybe get a dog that you want off of that, right? You go to a bird show to buy, brood stock or whatnot, right? We have our purposes. Yeah. You go to a reptile show now to stock up on rats, to buy crickets, to go, like, dude, I see people at every show and they're like, yeah, I pay my admission at the door because we were going to come in anyway. But I never buy crickets at the pet store when there's a herp show this month. I buy a box of crickets at the show.
Right.
Right. I don't buy mice at all from a pet store. I go to a herp show that comes near me, or a Repticon that comes near me every other month or every 3 months, and I buy a quarter-year supply of mice at every single one. And that's what I see.
Right.
Jody, that's what I see. I don't see... Dude, I opened an aquarium store and I was one of 7 aquarium stores in the state. That's in the southern part of the state. That's insane when there's not one reptile store, not one in the whole motherfucking state.
Yeah, you're right about that. We have kind of 2 here, but I mean, we're kind of I guess we're kind of a little bit different in that respect.
Where are you exactly?
I'm in Lubbock, Texas. So we have a place called Walter's World of Pets. He does all of that stuff. And then, if you get into the hypos, or if you get into hognose stuff, here the Evans line hypos and stuff like that. Richard Evans was the guy that. Richard Evans has a shop about 5 minutes. I mean, I go up, I see Richard all the time. And
so Rich Evans has a shop now. Okay.
Yes, so. That's where he had that when he started the hognose stuff. Before he ever started the hognose stuff, he had he was breeding berms out of there. He's breeding albino berms out of that shop.
Yeah, and I know he bred berms and stuff before he did hogs. I just didn't know he was a retailer. I didn't know that.
Yep. And then he had this.
Right. I respect you a little more there, Richard Evans.
And so he would do the
hognose. And he got pinched in the Lucy Hognose deal with all the other guys that got pinched in that shit. So
yep.
He bared the cross that Casey and Barchak and all them had to bear. So
yeah, he did. But he's Richard's a good dude. They're running a solid business over there, man. And Walter's World Pets here is running a solid business and doing some really cool stuff. They have a little zoo thing, kind of like reptarium type thing in the back. I mean, it's it's vision cages, but they're done very, very nicely. But it's like venomous shit and cobras and all kinds of cool route things.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like $3 to go in there, and they've got
that's cool.
Yeah, some big fish and some turtles, and the guy has like 14 Galapagos tortoises.
I'm not gonna lie. I went to the Blue Zoo with my daughter a couple of weeks ago. We were at the reptile show. When we left the show, we went to the mall, and it's one of these in the shopping mall. It's kind of funny because they took an old Hollister company store and they turned the entrance of it into the Blue Zoo entrance, right? So they painted it all blue and shit, but it's still a Hollister entrance with the fucking tiled thing. But they took. Next time you're in a mall and you cross paths with a Hollister store, notice that if I'm a handicapped person and I want to go in Hollister, which I am not a trendy, youthful person anymore that shops at fucking Hollister. But if I want to go in Hollister, I got to like knock on the side door because the entrances are all the step up into them like the old Banana Republic entrances were.
Right.
Because that's kind of like what it's modeled off of, like the old safari style Banana Republics. And dude, the Blue Zoo, you enter it through the fucking Hollister. And I was like, dude, this is the nicest Hollister I've ever been in. And the girl laughed. And I was just like, yeah, this is also the only Hollister I've ever been in through the front door, because they actually replaced the fucking step with a ramp, but they left the whole overhang thing in it. And I'm like, I've never been in a Hollister with a ramp. But we rolled around in here and they've got reptiles in there, but it's like a bearded dragon and a tegu and a fucking sulcata. And it's like the easiest thing in the world to set this thing up. You just have to be able to rent a massive amount of mall space. Like it is like fucking 6 mall stores. I couldn't imagine what the rent is. I think for my daughter and I to go in and walk around, it was like $20 for the two of us for like $10 a person, or whatever, which is fine. And it sucked. Like it sucked ass. Like for people in a mall in the middle of a brick jungle, like Baton Rouge, Louisiana, that they have a zoo there. It's not a very great zoo. They don't have an aquarium. The New Orleans aquarium sucks ass too. It's terrible. So like you put people in a mall like next to Victoria's Secret and fucking Abercrombie, you know what I mean? And like you land like a nature experience, and I'm all for it. Like I'm all for it. Like I don't care how fucking horrible it is, as long as the animals aren't that horrible. And like some of the reptiles, like the green tree python, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like somebody needs to go in there and just bust it out and rip it out. And like, if someone tries to stop them, choke them with the fucking Reptivine in the cage. I don't know, like, let me get you mangled in the Reptivine. And because this thing is the most desert species green tree python ever. Like this thing could live with a Eurymastix and be healthy. Like this fucking thing is so crispy and thin. Its backbone sticking out like a fucking razor blade. Like it is horrible, right? And I'm telling my kid, I'm like, my kid's looking at it. My kid's like, Dad, this python doesn't look too good. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't say shit, And I'm like, there's this young couple that's like grabbing ass in the corner that they're there on their fucking like 17-year-old date night, Saturday night date night. And so I'm like, hey kid, let's go. I tell my daughter, I'm like, hey kid, let's go over there to those young kids and that are making out and harass them and tell them to come to the reptile show and see what real reptiles look like.
Yeah, right.
So we're over there and I'm telling them, hey, you could come to the reptile show tomorrow and see what this shit really looks like, And it's kind of cool because you see people at places like that, like the employee that worked there. I told her, I was like, please come tomorrow. Are you off work tomorrow? I was like, I'm not hitting on you. I don't want your number. I don't care. Please come to the reptile show. Don't even stop at my table. Don't even say hi if you see me. But come there and see what this shit's supposed to look like. Come in, come, please. And
then go back and make yours look like that, right?
Exactly. You know what she said? Oh, the reptile show's back. I'm so glad. And I'm like, yeah, but no, it's not. It was a Repticon for 20 fucking years. And Repticon deserted the facility now because people just stopped going to the shit. Bro, I did it. Tim and I did it for the better part of the last bit of time. And we stopped doing it like 5-6 years ago. So imagine how far down it's gone since then.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking crashed. So they finally left it alone. And Sean and Lori came in with Herps and took it over.
Okay.
And so it was the very first one. They opened up the building twice as big as Repticon has ever opened it up. Filled it up because it's a Herps venue. So if they open it up in Louisiana, it's full. Like it's sold out immediately. Vendors. Sold out. We have good shows here because we don't have a lot. And we don't have a shitload of breeders and we don't have a retail store, right? Like, so my tangent, right? So like, where like you live in a place like Lubbock that has these retail advantages, but you see what I'm saying, right?
Right. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. It makes sense. I guess I don't think about it that way because I mean, for the most part, whatever I want, I can go down there and get, you know, and I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I've
Mr.
been doing this for
Albino
so long.
Hognose and shit, Mr. Anaconda Hog, Mr. Every
Yep.
Other Thing Hog has a pet shop there. So,
Yep.
you know, and it's Texas and it's outside the realms of asshole Texas. So it's not Austin, it's
No.
not Houston, it's
No.
not Dallas proper. So you got some motherfuckers there that have tigers and shit.
Yeah, out of all those cities you mentioned, the closest one is about 6 hours away.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The closest one 6 hours away. So like when you're in the Midland, Odessa, the Lubbocks, the like, you know, the Big Bend, Texas area, like the isolated areas of Texas, this is where the motherfuckers live to keep the shit.
Right.
Right. This is where the people live to keep the fucking lions and tigers and bears.
Yep.
Right. So yeah, so that's kind of cool. But in Louisiana, where the lions and tigers and bears have more or less been all taken away, we don't have the exotic pet stores. We just don't. You're
That's
going
a real
fucking
interesting way, I guess.
Petco.
Yeah, I guess just by default because I've got it here. I never thought about it that way. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like
Our pet store in my town is called Adventure Pets, and it's as adventurous as a veiled chameleon. And the owners are tortoise breeders. They only breed sulcatas, right? I mean, so it's like fuck, you know, like literally have a run of the mill pet shop. It is a run of the mill classic ancient style pet store. Runs very well. Owners run it very well, but it's very old school. And it's called Adventure Pets, but it's not very adventurous.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Is the Odessa show a good show? Feely was mentioning it earlier today.
It was, well, so the last time it's a Show Me Snakes show. The last time it was the first show. There was probably 15, 20, probably 15 to 20 vendors there. There was and first time, so you learn stuff, you know. There was a space to probably set up
Mickey's a great guy. Mickey runs a good show. It's I wish he'd get more crowd to his shows, but I think it's more or less of a time and got to keep hitting the same venues type of thing, you know.
Yeah, it just takes time. But now this time he's going to set up a dry goods booth. Last time there really wasn't the dry goods like you were just talking about. There really wasn't a dry goods booth and stuff. And so he said that this time he was going to do that. And but
yeah, see, that's the thing, really man. If somebody out there wanted to hustle a serious business, Jody, man, you know how well Andy Hine does with that Southern Pet Supply place, bro.
Man, I would tell you what,
Heine does some fucking shit, huh?
He does, man. I told him the other day you can spend more money than anybody I've ever seen in my life. That dude spends more money on.
Yeah, but the thing about he's got cash flow by the nuts.
Yeah,
like he's got cash flow by the nut. I mean, he might not really even be making that much money,
right,
in the end, from the amount of hustling that they do. But dude, you should have seen the setup that they had in Baton Rouge at that Repticon turned Herp show that I was just talking about. Dude, I have never seen him roll into a show that hard. But I'm just thinking that it had to be just the steamroll from Arlington then to his brother and him both hit that show with all the rigs. So I literally had 2 trucks and trailer loads show up to that show. So it was insane. And you know what? I still sell Pangea out from under his ass because I sell it for the same price Pangea sells it for, and he marks it up fucking a few dollars a bag.
Yep. So
I set my Pangea up right as close, whatever part of my booth is closest to his booth, no matter if he's across the show. That's what table my Pangea goes on. The table that's closest in my booth to his tables. And this past show, it was across the aisle from it. And I kept selling bags and selling bags and selling bags. And I kept putting up bags, and his brother comes by, and dude, what is Andy's brother's name? I never remember his name. You know what? He knows my name. He calls me. He used to call me. Well, he calls me Wheels, and he's the only one I let call me Wheels because I call him Cheddar Bob, and I'm the only one that calls him Cheddar Bob because he just reminds me of the Cheddar Bob dude from 8 Mile. And yeah, it just works, right? So
Right.
he comes by and he's like, man, you keep stealing my Pangea and putting it on your table. I'm like, bro, I just keep stealing your customers. I don't need to steal your food. I said, I got my own food. I just steal your customers, bro. He's like, man, we can't sell a bag of this when you're next to us like this. And I was like, all I do is charge what they fucking charge. I charge MAP. That's it. The minimum advertised price. The cheapest I can sell it for is what I sell it for.
Right.
You're nickel and diamond them all. So fuck it. I'm gonna just beat you every time. Yeah. So yeah, that's it, man. But his display, holy fuck. I just don't know. He pulls out that wad of cash and he shows me every time. He's like, this is why. And I'm like, that's Central Garden and Pets money. That's fucking ZoomEd's money. That's not your money. Like, you make a part of that. You don't make that whole thing. But if somebody wanted a serious business, but you guys got to seriously want to hustle. If you're akin to wanting to drive a semi truck and also pack your own load, then you should do this for a living. Because Mickey needs someone, I'm sure.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, he does. And we didn't have a frozen.
We'll do every single show, like a rodent dealer, a cricket dealer, a fucking supply dealer, and that will make the Show Me show me money.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think I think there's 3 shows already booked at the same venue for the year, and I know they've been advertising it really hard. And so I think this time it's going to get better. Now let me tell you the one thing about that show that you can't beat anywhere in the United States, and that's that wool money. That shit is thick as that shit thick as peanut butter, bro. I mean, it's like, dude, I'm telling you right now, like these guys, they will go in there and they will buy $700 pet snakes with zero intention of breeding or nothing. Yeah. Oh, they're buying 700,000.
They just want pets.
Yeah. They just want high-end pets. And so you come in there with something that knocks your socks off, and they will spend the money, dude. I mean, it's like these guys walk around like you're talking about, like Andy with wads like this, except bro, that's all that all goes to Hip National Bank. That's exactly where that stuff comes from. The guys are making, them guys are making some fat money down there, and they spend it anytime they want something. They're making them trucks out here they drive are $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 pickups. They got all this lift kits and performance mods and all that. And when them guys are going to spend some money, man, they got the money to spend. I promise you.
Yeah, custom money. So there's your answer. Whole Back Rack podcast. Go hit the oil money in Odessa. It'll be better than the oil money was in the Northwest.
Yeah,
in the Pac Northwest. Yeah, it'd be real good. I mean, look, I remember going and hitting like Pasadena Repticon outside of Houston back in the early days. Because that area right there, all of the people that live in that area do really well, and they spend that fucking money, man. I remember the first time Bailey and I went to that Repticon. Tim and I together took like 12 to 14K out of the room. We destroyed Brandon Bokey, and all them showed up to the show and looked at the roster, bro. They were looking to check in on the list and where they got to sign in. And he's looking down for priceless pythons. I'm like, bro, that P's way down there. You got to go past Bailey and Bradley before you get to that fucking P. You got to go past Bailey and Bailey Reptiles. Oh, shit, Tim's here? Oh, shit, is Sean here? Well, I wasn't there for that. That wanted a beer.
I like Bokey, man. He was a good dude, and he sold me my first ever Fireball Python male for $2,000.
Yeah, well, he was one of the first people to buy into that project with Clark and Wilbanks back in the day. He spent that money when they were out there for $25,000 for them fires.
Well, let me tell you, after I bought that snake from Brandon, so I went up to his house one time, and I had never been to a reptile show. This was just before that show that I met you, right? And so he was like, hey, come to your first show. You can see it, and then you'll be coming back for the other big show, and we'll go whatever. And so it was at this little VFW, right? And this kid sitting, the first day we go in there, was sitting with this kid, and he had brought a Super Mojave, and it was clearly daddy's money. This kid was like, had this $10,000 Super Mojave. And everybody was wetting themselves over this. And then Bob Clark was sitting on the corner and had, his stuff or whatever. But there was maybe a dozen vendors at this deal, right? And so that night I go over to Bokey's house, and he's showing me around his reptile room and stuff like that. And he had 2 fireflies. He had made a male and a female. The female was a lot better than a male. Female was brighter, more vibrant colored than the male. She was badass, bro. That was one of the baddest fireflies I've ever seen in my life, right? And so he's like, on Sunday, we're going to go to the show, and we're going to take this snake. This was kind of before I kind of, like you were talking about, leave your snake at home or whatever. But anyway, we walked in that show, and that guy sitting there with that $10,000 Super Mojave, I thought the dude was going to jump over his own snake to get this. Like, what the hell is that, man? And there's only 2 in the world, and they were both at Brandon's house. I mean, he was the first one to make that, you know.
Right.
And we took that to that show, and I was like, holy hell, I never seen dudes like go like that crazy over a snake.
Crazy over some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was me. That was me and Boki with the Firefly, man. That was and so I you know, for that reason I've always liked a fire pastel, you know. I mean, it's just like and that's
cool, bro. I mean, you just it's from the earlier days of seeing all this stuff. Like you said, you came from buying a ball python for $24.99 when you were you know, a kid in '93.
I drove 8 hours to see my first albino ball in person. My cousin was getting married up in Oklahoma, and we went up to, I think it was not Broken Arrow, but it was way up, it was up north in Oklahoma. We drove like an hour past the wedding venue one day. Like, we got up and drove an hour past the wedding venue and went and seen an albino ball python. A guy had one he would let me come look at. And I saw that picture hanging in my snake room. It's up there, and on the other side of the door is a burn match.
I got Ballsh podcast matchbook. You still got that?
Yeah, I got one right up there in the top corner.
There was only 100 of them, and I think I kept like 5 to 10 of them. So there's not very many of them around. So it's good.
Yeah, I got one right up there, and
make that one again.
Yep. That's good. And so
those things once.
Yep. So I drove 8 hours to see my first ever albino ball in person, man. Like that's like how crazy that shit was. Yeah. And you know, at the time they were 75, or they were about 7,000 a piece, or I mean, 7,500
like $7,500, $8,500. It sat there for a while.
Oh, dude,
it sat there for a few years. Yeah.
Yep. And so so you know, that was way. And so I still keep you know, that's another reason why I always keep an albino. I mean, I've got albino pieds, but I'm fixing to slow down on that project a little bit. It's just not rolling real strong, but man,
yeah, I was gonna say, I was looking at your Morph Market, and it's looking like it's looking like whatever somebody would, like Chris Eaton would call paycheck snakes these days, you know, because it's like, how do you even stay in the cut with something like pied, you know? Because I don't know if you've had my experience, bro, but man, I've had such shit luck with pie balls growing and breeding strong for me. They've just always been the slowest, most difficult thing in the world for me to mess with. So, you know,
I'm actually having pretty good luck with them. And you know, I've kind of come to like the term paycheck snakes.
Yeah, it gives you a certain group of customers too.
It does.
Pull from, and I like that group of customers, but at the same time, there's going to be quite a few people that are, you know, but yeah, I mean, it's.
I've got some stuff growing up and moving past that a little bit this year. You know, I'm working on. I know Lucifer is basically fire, but there was I can't look on my pictures right now, but there was a guy in South Africa who did Lucifer pied this last year, and it looked totally different. I mean, the back pattern and everything is totally different than a fire pied. And so I've got a Lucifer.
Sharp snakes come out of South Africa these days, dude.
Yes, and I've got 2 Lucifer het pieds in my deal, and so I'm working on that. I'm working some blackhead in this year. I should have some blackhead bananas. It's from a possible het pied, so either I'll have 100% hets to turn around pretty quick and make blackhead stuff with, or I'll have blackhead pies this year. But I'm liking living in that kind of, like you were talking in your intro about like an ambassador to new folks and stuff like that. I kind of find myself liking that instead of always chasing the biggest high-end stuff. Now, that being said, I mean, I'm working on some multi-gene combo stuff in pied and everything like that. But I find myself really liking that type of snake that you can build a collection off of. That, you know, when you come in, this hobby is not a cheap hobby to get into. And so I'm finding myself right now, although I've got a couple of cool things working. I've got a double het desert ghost pied stuff. You know, I've got some of that too. But I'm really finding myself liking the intro snakes for people that are just getting into it, because not a lot of people coming in buying, you know, the $5,000 to $10,000 snakes. That would be something like I would go buy after people bought a bunch of snakes from me. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm kind of sitting right there where I'm working with the Lucifer into pied, and then the other thing I'm working on this year is, and I would probably be the first person this year to ever make it, would be a special Gene X pied. So I have I've got a proven special het pied male, and went to a pastel inchy yellow belly Gene X het pied. And so I'm hoping to be the first one to make a Gene X special pied this year, and I want to work with that a little bit. I've got other animals. I think that would go great with to put some the special around. I think it's just the special pieds are really doing some cool stuff right now.
Man, I just cough, man. I'm trying to stay ahead of it. Fuck. Sorry about that, bro. But yeah, so special pied stuff. Man, I've got red stripe stuff coming. Maybe
Right.
She's about to ovulate, so it was a pastel red stripe pied to a yellow belly pied. So I don't know, like that kind of stuff. Who knows if I could even tell what the fuck it even is when it comes out, you know? And
I'll tell you what, man,
and
that lace pied Justin put out the other day was just amazing. I mean, not the clown. The clown was amazing, but I mean, I'm talking about without the clown, just the lace. It was like a lace yellow belly pied. Mercy. That was just, and so probably this year.
It'd be nice to see some things to come up for Pied to kind of bring it back into the fold of I mean, because clown has certainly taken everything over.
Well, it has.
I mean, I see puzzle starting to claw its way in.
Yeah,
so.
the puzzle. I like the puzzle stuff and everything like that. And I thought it would be a lot further along than it is. I know that you kind of managed the project a little bit differently on purpose.
Yeah, I did.
I know that you did that. So
very differently. But
so I know that you did that and everything like that. But yeah, and I'll just be real honest with you. The reason why I haven't played in those big markets like that is, man, us cops, we're poor, bro. We're dirt ass poor. We got that kind of money, dude. I mean, I'm playing around. I got probably 14 or 15 genes in my pieds that I'm mixing up, and probably this year going to add a couple of more. But
yeah, and pieds are never hard to sell though. Like they're never in a non-saleable spot. Like I think it's one of those things where, had things been different and people had focused a little bit more of their efforts on, just that, pieds are still a fairly strong seller. Like I don't, there's worse areas to have a fundamental gene in a collection than what you chose.
Right.
And so I think that's interesting because I think you do also fall into the group of guys like me that are Tinley Park has-been types that aren't in Tinley Park tonight, partying it up with the Marshall Van Thors who just can't get it through his head that he's outgrown that in his age. It'd been like, bro, why aren't you sitting at home like the rest of us veterans?
Right.
That aren't really kicking ass at it anymore. But I mean, he's still doing a pretty good bit of stuff. But like how many animals are in his collection of pied productions now? If you're working with, you're working with a certain group of genes and pieds. I mean, my pied group is very small now, but how many animals are you totally working with altogether?
Right now about 30, 35. So we're around there. I think I'm sitting here counting about 30, 36, I guess. 36 is what I'm looking at.
Okay. So that's for an adult collection.
Yeah, I've got a couple of sub-adults that I've got in that and some stuff that I'm bringing up, but stuff that'll be ready by the end of this year to start for the next season. I'll be 15, probably 20 adult females and 10 males, to kind of really mix up my genes and stuff like that. So I've got a little bit more males than most people carry, but that's okay.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. It keeps you not working too hard on the snakes as well. How many shows a year do you think you do with that?
Just right now, I'm just doing the Odessa show. The Amarillo show kind of fell off, so I'm going to do the Odessa show. But really, I'm doing a lot of local sales. Like you said, the pieds always sell, and so my main concentration right now, I think I'm probably 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons away from producing no hets. I'll be 100% pied to pied. Right. And so my goal is to produce no hets. When one thing that you're saying about the pied market is it absolutely sells and it is easy to sell, and that paycheck level snake, I can walk in with a paycheck level snake and I can sell them all day long around this area on my Instagram account or whatever, or I can sell just by word of mouth. I'm moving a lot of snakes. This last year I sold about 50 snakes this last year is what I think I produced 58 or 59 this last year, and I kept 8, so I sold 50 out of 51 snakes that were for sale. I think I've got 7 left, and those are going to the show with me this weekend. But out of that's left, there's only one visual pied left that's got color on. I got the two
right. You got the albino pied males and the banana pied
that stuff
female
doesn't
on
sell.
Morph Market.
But the visual stuff is what is what moves.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm going to be cutting back on the albino pied stuff and doing some other stuff. You know, like I said, I got desert double het desert ghost stuff. So we'll look down the road at that a little bit and just, you know, bringing in because I've got a lot of color. You know, I like the color and stuff like that.
That
so
one gene's gonna pop up that's gonna modify pied in a weird way or something.
I'm gonna be way ahead of the game when
that's gonna be ready to that Jody will be ready to jump all over.
Yeah,
with,
well, I
make a fundamental base like that. You know.
Yeah, I make snakes the cheap way here. Like I was telling you, that blackhead that I got. There was a gentleman here who passed away unexpectedly. Had a small collection of snakes. He had a blackhead, 66% het pied male, is ready to breed. So I bought that thing for $130, ready to breed, from Richard Evans, and brought it home, put it in the collection, and probably about 4 months later, maybe we're at 4 months later.
Yeah, you got eggs from it.
I'm fixing to get eggs from. Yeah, my female's going into her prelay shed.
It always feels good to win like that. It always feels good to pick up something nice like that when you're in the right spot. You're in the right place, the right time. That's a really good spot to be in, you know, and
that's how I jump in. That's how probably I'm gonna end up jumping into lace this year. Is I'm gonna probably end up buying I've been looking. I can get probably a single gene lace male or a lace plus one other codom for probably between $300 and $500. I'll bring it in. I've got all these adult female pieds. I'll put it with some kind of cool combo that'll have, you know, like if I get a pastel, or if I get like an orange dream, maybe I've got a fire yellow belly or some kind of cool pied like that. I'll pop hets quick, and I'll get that and get my het male quick. I'll make a het male quick, and then I've got other.
Yeah, and if you've got a good collection of mature female pied and het pied stock, then you can really turn a male out quick. So that's my thing. Like this female yellow belly pied that's about to ovulate, this will be her first ovulation ever, and she is probably a 2017. Like it's pathetic. It's horrible. Wow. She's been big for many years too. She's been big for a fucking long time too. And I've been breeding. I bred her to puzzle stuff, nothing. Bred her to this, nothing. And hopefully this year I either got her bred by that pastel red stripe pied, visual pied, so it'll be all pieds, or I bred her to a tri-stripe, and it'll be, you know, yellow belly and normal double het tri-stripe pieds.
Okay.
You know, I just threw a tri-stripe in there, and I was just like, if all these people are going to go stupid for tri-stripe, fuck it. I'm just going to throw a tri-stripe in there. You know, because I've got a tri-stripe male, I've got a puzzle male, I've got that red stripe pastel pied male. And those are my males that really count, you know, like that I wouldn't mind. Like anything can be het for those things, and I don't really care. Right. You know, if I don't have anything to breed it to, I can just breed one of these 3 to it. You know, and that was it. Because tri-stripe, I really didn't. I knew that it was going to be a sleeper project for quite a while. I did not expect to see the people pricing it the way they're pricing it now. So
yeah, there's a friend of mine across town that got he has a visual desert ghost tri-stripe pied, and I'm going to tell you right now, he's doing some. I mean, well, he don't even have the snake right now. It's over in Georgia. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
It's at Vu's place or something, right?
No, he bought it from Vu.
He bought it from Bob.
Yeah. So I mean, he put pictures of it on Facebook the other day. So I guess it's no big secret that desert ghost tri-stripe pied. I mean, that desert ghost tri-stripe is breeding to an ultra male tri-stripe at Canova. You know,
right?
And I mean, it's just bro, that thing is ridiculous nice.
Yeah, that's
cool.
crazy.
Yeah, and I met Will I met Will from RCR at the last show there in Arlington a few weeks ago, and you know he does a lot of tri-stripe stuff, and he was a really cool guy to visit with and everything like that. So that he's doing.
Yeah, Will's a good dude, and he's got tri-stripe and puzzle pretty locked up.
He does.
Definitely got a good lock on puzzle, for sure. So you're gonna see. I mean, between him and John Dyer, from Balthazar, Like you should see some stupid puzzle shit this year and next year. Like
Oh man,
they should
crazy.
just like make clown buyers fucking cry in the next couple of years. I see the kid down in South Africa that I interviewed, DJ. I think he also just got a really badass puzzle, het clown, super pastel leopard puzzle clown or het clown thing. It's like just got this weird zippery line down its back. It's really cool. You know, so there's definitely a lot of on the horizon stuff that should be pretty stellar to look at. How you feel about the market? Give me an old man's perspective, bro. Give me the graybeard perspective of the marketplace as a whole. You know, like you've never you still with me? You froze for a minute. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, we're back.
Yeah, you're back.
Yeah, I can hear you
for a second. I was gonna say, well, how do you feel about the marketplace? That's what I was saying when you were frozen. Like, where are you at with everything? Obviously, I said, give me an old man, give me a graybeard perspective on this current state of affairs for ball pythons. Let's check in on Tinley Week or officially March 17th, 2023. We go to the North American Morph Market page, and we can see a grand total of what? Why is my mouse not showing up? Why is it mousing over way the fuck up there? 43,743. What do you guys all take your ball pythons out off the market to go to Tinley? How are they? Like, I haven't checked this in a couple of weeks. There's really been 7,000 ball pythons sold. I mean, I did notice the market swelled. I mean, Bitcoin's fucking tore off. Bitcoin and ETH tore off. So it only makes sense that ball pythons tore off too, but it looks like it's the weirdest thing in the world. You know what it is? It's this weird sharing thing at the top. Can you read it when I focus up there? See, it just like fucking fades away. What the hell is wrong with this thing? That's the most annoying thing. I can't click on the number and actually see the actual number. It's like, you see how it's doing? Like it's showing like at the top of the thing, it's fading away. Anyway, somebody goes, yeah, tax time. I agree. It's tax time, right? So maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Like I said, 100 motherfuckers took their ball python inventory down temporarily to bring it to Tinley. Well, I guess we'll see how this number looks next Friday. I'll revisit the number next Friday. But I mean, I'm happy. If it's gone down, I'm happy because it should be going down right now. Like, now is not the time that ball pythons should be hatching and going up for sale on Morph Market. The number should not be increasing. For a healthy market, the number should be decreasing. And at this rate, it should be decreasing. You know, it's the first one you can click on. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, all ball pythons on Morph Market in US and Canada has gone well below 50,000, which is nice. So, you know, we should take bets on what that's going to be at the next Tinley show in October. We should see where that's going to be. So, how do you feel? You feel good? You feel like if you had the money to buy, would you be out there buying? Would you be out there like just negotiating, you know, nickel and diamond, like throwing down cash, saying crawl, motherfucker, crawl? Like, I've seen it all. Where would you be?
Yeah. Right. No, I think so I think what I've been talking to some folks for a long time, just kind of just as you have just general conversations, you know, especially here in the barn and stuff. And I think for a while the COVID stuff artificially inflated our market and made it more than what it actually is.
All markets, right? All markets. So I mean, we know that's not a stranger to tires, from refrigerators and tires to, you know, ball pythons and tarantulas. It didn't really matter. Pretty much inflated it all.
Yep.
So
I've been saying we're due a market correction. I think I think when the market correction happens, we'll buy, but I don't think we'll be I don't think we're like dead or anything like that. You can still sell a snake, but the days of, like, for me, if I have a yellow belly, I don't know, bro.
I brought an albino ball python. I'm going to interrupt you, even though I'd rather not interrupt you right now and say this, that I've been a little shocked in my area by what I've brought lately and not been able to sell. But please continue. You know, like you've done well in your area, and that's good.
Yeah. So I think that but no, I think folks are still going to continue to buy and everything like that. But I think we're going to have a market correction. Some of the prices are going to come back to a more affordable deal. So all of the stuff is inflated. Unfortunately, our paychecks haven't all inflated to go along with it. You know,
I was going to say, when can a
and so there's
cop,
some
when can a
catching up to
cop
do.
buy a clown? You know, when can a
Yeah,
cop buy a
right.
clown? I had 4,295 visual clowns listed for sale
Yeah.
on Morph
That's a
Market.
lot
Good.
of clown. That
That
you know what? It's catching up to Pides because Pides was probably last time I checked. Like I kept a watch on it, but I mean I checked like probably once every 3 or 4 weeks, really. Um, and probably Pides was at like 4,800 on the
This
visual
is
Pides.
they've actually surpassed visual pides right now. There's more, not by many, but like there's like 20 more clowns than there are pides on Morph Market.
Man,
So just to tell you, but
uh,
like if you look at that, that is literally 10% of the market is visual clown. 10% of the market is visual pied. Bruh.
right.
Bruh. Like seriously, 10% of the market is that one gene. 10% of that of the market is that other gene. You know,
Yeah,
and then you got puzzle down here, and there's like fucking
yeah.
98
So but,
puzzles. I'd never thought
and I'm
I'd see
thinking, you know, like,
puzzles actually hit 100 visuals for sale, but holy shit, they actually have almost hit the
yeah, those
lowest
puzzles.
price. The
There's not.
lowest price for a visual puzzle is $1,000. That's still fucking insane, bro. That's still fucking awesome. The lowest price. He froze again. The lowest price. What his? You have the craziest cool freeze faces, bro. Your freeze faces are like
I don't know what's going
ridiculous.
on. Why I started
Yeah,
freezing
all
all
of
of a
a
sudden. But
sudden you're yeah, hold on a second. It needs to catch up with
I'm
you.
having a
There
little.
we go. Now we got it. We got it. You're not pixelated
Okay,
anymore. The
I'm having a little trouble
cheapest
here.
puzzle is $1,000.
$1,000. That's
thousand
good.
dollars for a pastel puzzle. The cheapest one's
Wow.
1,000. The cheapest regular puzzle is 1,500. So without pastel, I'm sorry, 1,300 for a possible head axanthic. But for my boy
Okay.
Kevin Fink, $1,500 for the cheapest normal puzzle on Morph
Hmm.
Market.
Yeah,
Bailey 1,600. My boys, look at them holding the shit up. I love you guys for being fucking awesome and having your heads on straight. Every one of you motherfuckers that bought from me that's on this front page, they're the cheapest, that's still the most expensive recessive gene around, that's been around since the year 2009 on the market.
right.
That's
No,
insane, bro.
it
That's
is. It is. You
insane.
definitely set that up, and I'd
Yes.
seen you
Yes.
talk about that you know you'd seen. I saw the stuff that you'd put online and what I think it was just like you like some of those shop deals that you were doing for a while
The
there, and
only morph ever marketed through US Arc auctions, right? Fucking $25,000 to $30,000 raised from the project donated through the auctions over the course of the years that it was donated. So if
yep,
you didn't hear about, like, people are like, oh, how are you gonna get people hear about your project? Well, fuck, I'm gonna give it away to US Arc and let them hear about it. You know,
yeah,
it was a great thing to do, right? Like, not only did it make 30 grand or 20, it was like 25, 26 grand that it yielded for US Arc by itself. Dude, nobody did that with any other project.
mm-mm.
Nobody marketed it that way. Nobody gave it away while also trying to get the name out there and make motherfuckers pay a lot of money for it.
Right,
You know, kids like you mentioned Will from RCR. Will was a kid. His parents own a vet clinic. He was like 17, 18. His mom called me and said, would you please talk to my son? I said, sure. We
Mhm.
talked. I told him, I said, kid, buy this fucking gene. You will never make more money on any other gene than you'll make on this gene. It's the same thing I told William Philippek from TJW. It's the same thing I told Maki from Pacific Coast, which Maki's out now. Dark Continent, he bought all Maki's stuff. I told him the same thing. Buy this. You'll make more money on this than any other project you buy. And, you know, John Dyer from Balthazar, you will make more money. And, you know, he told me I've made more fucking money. It's not just like that. It's like, bro, you remember when you told me I'd make more money? I've made more fucking money. It's like the Wolf of Wall Street comes out and they're
yeah,
like, bro, I fucking did it, you know?
yeah,
And it's just like, please listen to me. Please listen to me. And then keep it rare, bro. Keep it rare. Ship it out. Ship it overseas. Ship it to Asia. ship it to Japan, ship it to China. Charge them for it. Charge them for it. You're going to sell it to them like twice. Charge them. Make the fucking money, right? But I think puzzle also came up in a time where people were like, okay, let's value this. Like, I think if Pied would have come when puzzle came, it would be different. It would be more. It would still be up more. I think it would.
Right.
But now this thing is going to pop off, though, in a way, in the way of puzzles. I think it's going to pop off in a very interesting, enlightening way, you know?
Right.
Yeah, look at Balthazar with the fucking super pastel stranger puzzle.
I wish I had I wish I had more.
No.
That's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's not even that crazy yet. Like, what's the super stranger puzzle look like? You know,
Right.
What's the
Yeah.
you know, whatever else? Like,
Yeah, I
this
think
gold puzzle, this Huffman puzzle. I thought this stuff was neat. You know, just that
I would have
lesser
the space and stuff to get into more projects.
Yeah, and that's it too, man. You gotta at some point you have to just really weigh your dedication. Like when I have a hard time being this guy in ball pythons where I'm like, when I sold my collection in 2019, there was a little bit of this and a little bit of that, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And you could come to my place, and as long as you didn't drop any real pearls, like show me a monsoon or show me a sunset double gene, or I could be like, I got that.
Right.
I got that. I got that. You know, oh, what do you have? A firefly, bamboo, blah, blah. Got that. What about a desert ghost? No, don't got that. Never bought desert ghost. Did a dumb shit. Never bought desert ghost. You know, things like that. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, like how do you really like you need more space? I've gone to the problem, Jody. I've gotten my space to be less. I'm like, I need less space.
You know how big my barn is, bro?
How big's your barn?
8 by 12.
That's fucking that. You know how big my mouse building is, bro? 8 by 12.
Hey, well, I got rats. I got rats on one side, and I got snakes on the other. But we're
I only have mice in an 8 by 12. I don't even have rats in an 8 by 12. I have rats in a 10 by 16. I had iguanas in a 24 by 14. I had ball pythons in a fucking 14 by 50.
Oh Lord,
that's my machine room now. I could fit 2 full-size CNC machines and an industrial laser and work tables in that room.
Wow. Well, see, I
could fit 700 ball pythons.
After I get back from this Odessa show, I'm going to add on to the side of this building. I'm going to put a little lean-to on it. And it's going to be like
a little lean-to. Fuck that. Put a big lean-to over the whole thing. You call one of these guys with one of these portable garages to come in and be like, hey, you see my mouse building right here? This guy in a wheelchair showed me it needed shade. Can you just cover it for me? Cover it for you. Cover it. Just cover it. That's it. I'm with basement pythons. That's a fucking shed. That's not a barn. That's funny. You're the guy in Texas calls an 8 by 12 his barn. But at the same time, it is a cute little, it is a fun little shack. But to keep a hobby that way is healthy. Like you're healthy. You're a healthy man. Like you're a healthy mind. How the fuck? Right? How the fuck?
Well, that's why I bought little when I bought. But I'm fixing to right now. I hadn't been really buying much snakes. I'm fixing to add some cabinets in here and put that deal on the side. I want to really like change it up. But I'm going to tell you, you know what, and you'll like this. Like so, the really the inspiration for this building. You know, everybody these days is headed towards the metal racks and all this kind of stuff. And you know what the inspiration was with my building having the white walls and everything white and everything like that. I'm fixing to switch to a gray linoleum or a vinyl plank floor. But you know what? My deal with this was I always wanted to look like Ben Rennick on a hobby scale. I wanted my place to look like Ben's place. All these plastic cages and everything else like that. And I wanted to do everything that Ben did on this level. And
not at all a bad role model to have, and in a clean looking facility. As long as you find a guy that's not C-SERPENTS to supply you with racks, because C-SERPENTS don't make no white racks.
Right.
That's Animal Plastics that made all that white.
Yep, it was.
And honestly, look, man. I mean, I'm using this plastic that I'm using now, and if we can get this deal done, and I can start importing some plastic from China, I'm gonna start importing white and start doing white again, because I'm a huge fan of white. If I do racks, guys, I want my racks to actually be white. And the reason why is because I want my employees and my workers and my helpers and all of us, I want us to be able to make a white rack white again. with sanitary means, like with bleach and with wet magic erasers and stuff. When you guys see a white PVC rack, the underside of the cage that the animal's always coughing on, because when a snake coughs, it doesn't cough like I've been coughing facing the floor. It coughs up. It looks up and coughs up, and they cough straight up. And if you watch a video of the snake coughing slow motion, you see all the sputum and everything coming up and how filthy it is on the underside of your surfaces. When you see how gross the white ones get and the black ones don't look that bad.
Right.
So if the black ones have the same absorbing ability as the white ones, which they pretty much do, you have so much disgusting funk on the underside of your black PVC lid up underneath that you're never cleaning properly because you can't get spray up on there. You can't get elbow grease in there, dude, because you can't get, like, my employees, they're aggravated when they have to do it. So I'm like, just unbolt the rack and turn the rack upside down. So at least then you're pressing down while you're cleaning. You're not trying to press up and clean consistently at the top. A white PVC rack is the ability to see cleanliness.
Yep. This last week I pulled every rack out of this barn. I moved all my animals around. Some I was putting in tubs, put them in the incubator, whatever I did. I spent 2 solid weeks. It took me 2 weekends to pull all of these racks out. My bigger ones I wanted to put on casters, the bottom ones, because I didn't order them with casters. That's the dumbest mistake. Always order your racks with casters. But I was putting casters on the bottom, and then I unscrewed the backs off of every rack and cleaned all the way to the back. Man, these CB70 tubs are 3 foot back. That's 33 inches. Ain't nobody got 33-inch arms.
No.
And you ain't reaching back there and cleaning that, man.
Right.
And I took a detail, like a vacuum cleaner with little detail nozzles, and I spent the last 2 weeks detailing the back end of my racks, all up under my incubator, all this. Man, you would be surprised. You think, oh, this ain't that bad, bro. Like it gets like, it's not because you're not keeping your animals, because it's really nothing. It's mostly just like dust and stuff like that. But like you're talking about on that top side, and man, you put a white paper towel in there, and you're going to be surprised what it comes out looking like.
Absolutely, absolutely. Get a magic eraser and
Yep.
some, F10 and some cleaning solution and stuff, and go in there and just get the scrubbing, or just like, have them on casters and have an extra rack to where you can literally swap racks and roll that bitch outside and pressure wash it, or get it really good and clean. We got to clean out the room at the shop that's still existing with the animals. Has been set up with the same dust and dirt and grime for the last, oh man, I think I built that room in 2009, 2010, something like that. So it's been sitting there, bro. And it's embarrassing now because it's gotten so much dust and so much, and so going through the clutter and trying to cut through the dust and cut through the old shit. But that whole room has 4 black racks in it, and there's probably 30 racks in that room, and there's only 4 in there that are black. The rest of them are white. And we will go in there, and those lids will be so funky, bro. Like, so funky. And I look at the black ones, and they look so much better.
Yeah.
And I know they're as dirty as the white ones.
Oh, sure.
And it fucks me up every time I look at them, and I'm like, yep, no novice breeder out there is paying attention to this. Nobody's caring that much about this. And plus, it's bad me because being in a wheelchair, bro, I'm sitting down. So I'm looking up underneath all the shit all the time, seeing all kind of crap, that just gets, around. And like Mike said, imagine the rat crap that gets smeared around the racks underneath from the anal area of the rat being constricted and moved around and drug across the surface. I am a big fan of PVC racks. I think they work great for temperature and humidity. They work great for budgetary constraints. They work great for being lightweight and being easy to move around. They work great for modification at home with the lightest of tools. You're not modifying a Freedom Breeder rack. You're not modifying that. You're modifying a PVC rack in a heartbeat. Modify that bitch with a fork, with a hot fork, you can modify that. Not too good. Don't heat it up too much, because it's PVC. It is chlorine gas when you burn it. But at the same time, like when you think about the amount of PVC racks out there, I mean, think of Chris C-SERPENTS, the sponsor of this podcast. the number of racks that he's putting out there to the public. That public needs to know the risks of not having this clean and taken care of. And like, you know, I mean, Jeff Johnson that used to work at Freedom Breeder, you know, Jesse's brother, you know, the Lindy's other son, who originally designed the new designs. If you remember, Jeff designed those lids to be able to slide out of the new Freedom Breeder designs and be clean.
Yeah.
You know, those plastic slide outs. So if you have Freedom Breeders, use that function. Pop the edges of your racks off and slide those fucking things out and wash them. You know, the Vision racks, not easy at all. The Vision racks are probably the worst.
Oh,
with the plastic shelves with the holes in them to where the animal can cough and shit up in the holes, and you can't clean those holes out. You literally have to take the rack apart and disassemble it to be able to clean it properly. And that's just not feasible. So, you know, buy smart. And I agree with you, man. Like, put down your gray barn wood and get your white PVC in there, and you know, share the memory of Ben.
Yep. That's what I started with this facility, and that's what that's kind of where I go with it, you know. And I'm going to put some cabinets in here and do my little wrap thing out there, and but yeah, that's why I keep it. I had to buy a small building because I'm like, you know how us reptile people are, man. The bigger, if you have an empty,
you have to limit yourself.
Yeah,
you have to like literally say, okay, this is going to be my addiction. And if you're a career man and a family man, which you are both.
Yep. I got 5 kids, man.
Yeah, you got 5 kids.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Congratulations.
Yeah, I just became a grandpa last week, man.
So yeah, we're gonna pull that up on the screen right now, actually, and that way we can share in the glory of your new grandbaby.
Oh yeah.
Congratulations, old fella.
Thank you.
Are now a grandpa. You know,
I am a grandpa.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yep.
That's maybe I'll feel that one. I hope I live long enough to feel that one day. I think that'd be amazing.
It's an awesome feel. My dad's a great grandpa now, man. He's loving it. He's like eating it up.
Oh yeah, I bet so. Right. That keeps reminding him how far he is from responsibility land, like he used to be.
Yep.
That's funny right there. So yeah, definitely congratulations on the new baby.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. So are you gonna what? So you go to Arlington. Where else can people see you if they want to catch up with Pied Productions in person at the show there in Midland or Odessa?
Yeah, I'll be at the Odessa show and maybe the Amarillo show when it I haven't checked to see when it's coming back, but I think it's gonna be they usually have a spring show there. I don't know if you know Otis, I'm sure that
Otis and Malia, is that their show?
Yeah, that's their
Otis
show.
and Malia show. Okay.
Yeah, the Texas reptile.
I love Otis and Malia for being the sweetest people in the world. Hate vending anywhere near them with the stinky ass rodents and shit. And his pine screen covers for his tanks that have been urine saturated for the last or better part of my life are so disgusting to smell and be around. I love seeing them, waving to them. Malia always comes by and gives me a hug and everything. It's great, but stay the fuck on the other side of the show. Like, that's it. Like, I can't deal with it. Like, that's just one of those people where I'm like, where's Otis and Malia? Why, you looking for him? But yeah, I just want to say hi. Be sure I'm way the fuck away from there. You know, don't ever put me as their neighbor. But
yeah. I want to make a Herbst Conroe show, probably not as a vendor, but just as an attendant.
Well, let me know when you want to go do that, because I want to come out there and start doing the Conroe show again. I gotta have you along. That's like the most fucking thieved ass show I've ever been to, bro. I've only been stolen from at 2 shows in my life that I'm aware of, and both of them were the Conroe Herbst show.
Really?
There's like a ring of motherfuckers there that just have my mark and know how to rip me off. But
yeah, my friend Vince that show a lot, and he really likes it. So I think I'm going to go do that with him one time and go down there and do that one. And hopefully this year we're trying to get a little group of us together from here on the South Plains. Everybody wants to jump in my Suburban and make the haul to Tinley Park in the fall, but I'll be at Arlington in the fall. So, you know, I'm usually at shows a lot of times as an attendee, but not as. But I always got the Pied Productions orange on, man. And by the way, I'll send you a new shirt. I'm making some new shirts. I'm trying that direct to film. Have you seen that?
Yeah, one of the direct to print companies. Okay.
Yes. And there's
a lot of them. Okay. Like, so there's a lot of this because it's dye sub. It's not, you know, a lot of it's just dye sublimation. It's not like screen printed, which is fine. Like, it's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, you might make less money, but you don't have to worry about having all the sizes in stock and then shipping them out yourself.
And I'll go down to Walmart and buy their dry fit shirts for $7.50. And then you can get on there and get the little film thing for like $5 or $6 off of the thing, upload your logo, and they'll drop those to you. And
okay, so you're putting them on yourself. You press them on yourself. Okay, I gotcha.
And
they send you the white ink labels. Okay,
that's $12, and you got $12 in a shirt. I mean, you can sell them for 20 oh
yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. As long as the quality and stuff's good. I'm looking for something like that for the show. I'd really like to do a direct, ship to print, direct to print garment company. But every time I get samples from them, they're just so cheesy, man. Like, they're just so, like, if I want, I don't mind asking someone to pay me $25 to $30 for a shirt if it's going to actually stick around and be a shirt in 2 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'll let you know how this stuff works out, because this is like it prints on a clear film, and it's called DTF. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then I've been looking at the little shirt presses on Amazon. They're like $200. But you like the
I will tell you this: the print, the which you run into problems with those, because I've also researched those for the machine. Like, I've looked into any machine. Fuck, bro, you know what I've been researching this week?
What's that?
PCR at home.
Been researching what now?
PCR at home. PCR.
Oh, really?
Yeah, fucking genetic testing. Yeah, there's 2 ball python guys that are not the guys on Morph Market that are just bought machines and are literally testing on their kitchen counters. I don't care about ball pythons. I want to test hognose and corn snakes and other shit. I want to get.
I've been thinking about
what I'm doing is I'm looking into.
For sex.
Dude, one of these guys has an instant PCR box you buy off of Carolina Biological for $900.
Really?
$900. I don't know what other material, like, you need a spinner and you got to like take the shed and scrape it and mix it with the chemicals and put it in the spinner and spin it. Then you pop it in the machine and it heats up the sample and analyzes it and kicks it to a computer. You have people at home that are learning to do genetic testing with their own gear. I mean, dude, if I got a laser, you don't have to be a fucking NASA scientist to run a goddamn laser. You got a goddamn glow forge somebody's making jewelry out of on their counter. It's the same technology as a big industrial laser. It's just in an inkjet printer case.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's all these things are. Well, I'll tell you this about the t-shirt printing and stuff like that. If you don't ever buy one of those printing machines, because if you got to run those bitches all the time, like if the nozzle's set up for a week or a couple weeks, I got friends in the white ink printing business and stuff, and they're all like, don't buy any of that shit. Buy them, like you said, on the film already. Buy the shirt already printed. Don't buy the machine you're trying to print your own shirts, because you'll never, ever make $1. You'd have to print every day, all day, and sell each shirt for $45 fucking to make.
Yeah, they'll send you 2 pieces of film or 100 pieces. They don't care.
Right. They don't care. Yeah. No, and they're using big industrial machines too, so that they can get away with big runs and small runs. You know,
a t-shirt price is $200.
Right.
The t-shirt price is $200. You can make that.
Don't get it crooked, right? Don't get it crooked. I'd be getting it crooked, bro. I can't get a bird's eye view. You'd have to put the t-shirt thing on the ground.
Yeah.
I have a hard time getting anything centered, right? When I'm like sitting in a chair. You try centering anything sitting in a fucking chair. You ain't doing it.
Yeah, my fiance has one of those circuit machines, and one of those little machines you're talking about. She has one of those too, so I mean, I could use it for both things.
Cricket machines. Yeah,
yep. We've got one still in the box, brand new. Yeah, she never used it.
Still in the box, brand new.
Yeah.
I bought one. I did like 3 stickers with it, and I'm like, oh yeah, this isn't for me. Yeah, no.
Yeah, she was like, oh, I can make you stickers for Pie Productions, everything. And then I see it's just like one solid orange sticker, like not what I'm used to. And I'm like, no.
Right, yeah.
But I think it'll still do good making the shirts. I think it'll do good making shirts and stuff like that. But yeah, something that you can, figure out something to do, a little side hustle even if it just makes a little bit of money, that little
bit. Not a bad idea. Just make your shirt without spider balls and make it look crooked. It'll look normal. Not a bad suggestion. Not a bad suggestion. Yeah, I mean, that was the thing though. Like one of my friends was like, that's the thing to do when you start a reptile company. You got to have t-shirts in the first week. And I was like, that's precisely why in 23 years, I have never made an Exotics by Nature t-shirt ever. ever.
Right.
And when I go to shows now, I wear all of your shirts. So guys, hey, if anybody's listening, this will be my 2 hour and 3 minute shameless plug because we're about to head out of this whole chat. This has been a great night. It's been fun talking to Jody. And I'm going to say, thanks to Bravo Zulu for my green shirt on St. Patty's Day. One of the only days I can wear this on the podcast because I don't like wearing it when I'm on a green screen because it just makes my floating head effect suck. It's really annoying. But, at the same time, if you would like me to wear your shirt on the show, send it to me in a XXL, message me privately. I'll send you my address. Send me your shirt. I'll wear it on the show. I'll wear them out to reptile shows. I do not own my own company t-shirts, and I will have Ballsh shirts coming soon. I promise I will. It's something that I want to do this year, but I was waiting to see if I did any shows. Because I might just do like that. I might do a direct to print where you guys can just go on the website and order it. But Jody, I'm going to be doing like cups and shit. I could do stainless. I could put black on stainless. I could put blue on stainless. I could put colors in stainless with the new laser, but I haven't even tried it. Because I bought a MOPA fiber.
Yeah.
A fiber laser that'll do guns, that'll do stainless and everything. Right. Like the laser that you use for ATF markings, for weapons markings. I bought that laser as well. I just don't know how to fucking use it yet.
Cool. But yeah, I'm gonna get one of those.
It's capable of coloring stainless. Like you can color with no additives. It's really cool. It's really cool. You know how when you blue stainless, it has the rainbow? Like you can make it blue or purple or orange or yellow or whatever when you heat it, when they flame stainless.
Yeah.
Well, you can target the frequency of the laser and the pattern, and you can pull color out of the stainless steel without any additives or paints.
I was going to think it was a temperature thing, but yeah, that would be that's cool. I'm gonna get I want to get once I get my building stuff done this year, and get all my new building and everything done. I'm gonna order one of the logos from you that you do for inside
art signs.
No, one of my logo.
Well, your logo? Oh, yeah, hell yeah. I'll do a Pied Productions logo. Yeah.
That one.
This round steel one that's up here with the round one like that would be super easy to do. Yeah, it's super simple to do. That kind of stuff anytime. Yeah, just let me know anytime. And in the US arc signs also, just my biggest holdup with them has been trying to figure out the painting, because finishing them is not easy or fast. It takes time.
Really?
And only because it's MDF. So you need to spray paint it, let it dry, spray paint it again, let it dry.
Have you using the little fabric paints that you get at the store that come in the little plastic bottles and you
I have tried. I have an airbrush. I have an high flow airbrush. I've used rattle cans. I bought an airless sprayer. I have spent over $1,500 on painting equipment to paint these signs, to try to find an efficient way to paint them. And the only efficient way is to literally set up a paint booth room. And that's my only last step, to where I can literally line out 20 US, 20 ARK, you know what I mean? 20 or 30 of them at a time, and literally go through with a big Iwata gun and just spray the whole thing. Because to be able to, basement set MDF just sucks. It definitely sucks up paint. It sucks up paint. So if you're considering, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to run my machine and pay for my machine's time, not make a profit off of it, just pay for its wear and tear and time. I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to raise half the money for US ARC and get it shipped out to you. And it's just a killer, because it's just what will you finish your own sign for? Will you buy it for $100 from me? If 40 goes to US ARC, 40 goes to me, 20 is going to be spent shipping it to you, then you have to paint it. You have to glue it together. Right. And it's not hard to do. And so what I did was I herp, herps, the herp show. I sent 4 of them I actually sent 6 of them to the herp shop. So if you're in Bryan, College Station, Texas, and you want one, go to the herp shop and ask for a US ARC sign. They have 6 of them. I sent 6 of them to him. He's going to paint 4 of them and then probably sell or give away the other 2. And then I had a couple other people. What's that?
So that's a dadgum nice shop. I've been there.
Oh yeah, I'm
I
sure
ended up just
he's
closing
done
there on a
really
road
well
trip.
with it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
ended
Oh,
up
that's cool.
like 30 minutes away
stopped
from there on a road trip. I was like, hell yeah, we're going. Man, that is like a dream reptile store to like if I was to ever I would be like, hey, can I franchise and get all that shit you got just
exactly
right?
right.
Because I
Yeah,
mean it
exactly.
is everything that you want.
Well, you know, Andy pretty much worked with him on that inventory. Andy and him pretty much tailored that inventory to pretty
Yeah.
much what Southern drags around the shows. So,
Yeah.
like, you know, you pretty much got a sellable inventory. It's a solid shop.
Yeah, it
Very
is.
solid shop. And, you know, him and his purple and green, you know, of course he was going to make a USR purple and green for his shop.
Right.
So I'm like, you paint it, bro. You paint it. Film yourself painting it. Take photos of you painting it. And then my buddy who owns a fish store here called Aqua Hut, he's got a YouTube channel called Jungle John, I believe is what he called himself. And he's starting his YouTube channel up. And so he bought one at the show and he was like, man, I'm going to paint it and do it on the show. And so I'm going to send out a few to some social media people for them to paint and such. But really, that's been the biggest struggle, guys. It's like the machine literally cuts the base sign in 35 minutes. 35 minutes, I'm done with the actual structure of the sign. And your signs are the same way. Like I did a sign for Small Town Exotics. We cut out a sign for him. I'm supposed to be working on one for Steve Beamer from Reptile Collective for the side of his new building. And I think him and his wife are in talks on exactly how big this sign's going to be. He's like, bro, 3 feet's fine. And I'm like, 3 feet's pretty fucking big, bro. When you put an LED light behind it, 3 feet's like the size of a build, like the fucking inner part of the target circle. Yeah, that's 3 fucking feet, bro. You put an LED light behind that bitch, and your next door neighbor's like, hey, is that your company name? Hey, I never knew what your company name was.
Right.
My neighbors for 25 years. You know, like I'm like, hey, you want it? You want it? We'll do it. You know, we can throw that bitch up there in lights. And then honestly, man, my downtime the last week and a half has been this fucking flu. Because my aquarium customer put in a big order. I've got to produce 100 control panels for him. And as soon as I get that fucking order, as soon as I get a 4-figure PVC order from my biggest client, my entire staff gets sick. So, you know, I mean, it is what it is. So he asked me today, he's like, yeah, how you feeling? I was like, I'm doing better.
Not like cutting aquarium shit.
You know what he said? He said, how's my boards coming along? And I'm like, fuck, bro. I said, I'm over. I ran to the shop to pick up the podcasting board to record with you. And one of the reasons that I was running so behind tonight was that I talked myself into assembling half a dozen boards while I was there. I was like, I'm going to feel dirty, Jody, if I go to the shop just to get the podcast board and leave.
Right.
And not build this guy some shit, you know?
Yep.
But it is nice because, listen, man, I'm going to be working for a guy who built a mountain out of a molehill. I mean, when I tell you this company is fucking huge, dude. And we're going to be bringing a new controller to the reptile market. That's going to be a new thermostat setup that's going to fucking destroy the market. It's going to just chew it up.
Yeah, well, that would be awesome. Yeah, that would be awesome.
The best of sensor push, the best of Herpstat, the best of VE, the best of everything you can imagine from an aquarium controller. That's on your phone, but with all kinds of contingencies and backups and alarms and alerts. And it's just stupid. It's so stupid.
That's what we need.
Millions of dollars, Jody. Millions of dollars developed on this line. Insane. You know, and I talk about it here on the podcast because I'm trying to get people kind of prefaced into it. I really would love to see people start to open up their minds a little bit to a technology that's much bigger than anything they've ever seen before.
I'll end up having to share I've got another business logo too that I kind of, when I got this new Pipe Productions one updated, and it's actually my more of a dream business than Pipe Productions. I like Pipe Productions where it's at, but I've always kind of had a soft spot in my heart for rodents. But you know, one thing I haven't seen is enough soft-furred rats out there.
Oh yeah,
and so yeah, you know, sometime it's just always a future plan, you know, that I would like to maybe expand that if I could, because that's something I'm really good at. I've got a really great line. really great colony of animals and stuff like that. And I think that's something that that I would like to bring to the industry is a dependable supply of frozen soft fur rats, because not a lot of people keep them, and this, that, and the other, and
You're
they're
gonna
kind
need
of
a
hard.
lot more than an 8x12, bro.
Yes, sir.
Just saying. Just
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Get the
There's
hammer and
places
nail
around here that I
that.
could do it, but I gotta grow a little bit. So that's what I'm fixing to do is I'm fixing to add another dozen tubs here whenever I add this new room. So I'm gonna add another dozen tubs and see how that goes, and then the next time we'll make a bigger move, and then the next time we'll make a bigger move, and we'll go from there and see how
You
it works.
can't do a little bit. At some point, you've got to swing for the fences. You just got to go big or go home. So
yeah.
Hopefully I'll see Jody Barnes do that one day. Maybe when he retires from the police force and he's willing to put all his eggs in that basket, right? And swing for the African soft furred facility and the bigger pied breeding facility and all that type of stuff. So cool.
Yep.
Well, thanks for coming on the show tonight, man.
You bet, man. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you, bro.
Yeah, it's just I try to keep this casual and just chatting it up with a ball python guy and talk about the industry, talk about our projects, talk about what we like to talk about. And for anybody out there that went to Tinley Park this weekend, I hope you did very well. We'll talk about it like it's already over with, because before you know it, it'll be over with. Don't fall asleep tomorrow night, because Sunday end of day comes too fast. I will say that about going to Tinley. It was always so exciting to be there on Thursday, to set up on Friday, to sell shit on Saturday, to go to the auction on Saturday night. But that bittersweet Saturday night goodnight is the last of it. Because the next day you wake up, you got business, then you got to pack and you got to get home, because the rest of your shit is still waiting on you. So I hope though I see you, Jody, at a show this year. Maybe Tinley.
Yeah, we'll do Conroe or something.
Maybe something smaller. Yeah, smaller venue like Conroe wouldn't be bad. I would definitely like to get out there and start to make some more money with the other people outside of my area, because I haven't been vending anywhere outside of Louisiana since 2019. So it's been a minute. It's been a lot longer than I've ever gone without going out of my area and going out of my way. So hopefully I'll run into you somewhere. Sure I will.
Cool.
So good luck to you, bro. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, hang on for me. Don't hang up just yet. Let me say goodbye to these people, and then I'll give you a proper goodbye on private on the back end, and we'll get a couple minutes in. All right, hold on for me just a minute. And yeah, you got quite a few people that said thanks for coming tonight, and
cool.
Good show, great show, all that stuff. All right, Jody, thanks again, bro.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll put him back in the back for a second and tell you guys. Good show, great show, whatever. I don't really know if it's a good show or a great show, but it's me and Jody. And I've got a Pied Productions t-shirt in the box behind me that doesn't fit my fat ass anymore. It sounds like I might be getting a newer one soon. And we'll be making a logo for him in a sign. I hopefully will be continuing to do better. Tuesday and Friday night's been boring without me. Oh, thank you a lot, Mike. I really appreciate that. It makes me feel like what I do here does actually matter. Please give me a like and a subscribe if you've gotten this far. Thank you a lot for listening tonight. It's been Ballsh After Dark with Sean Bradley and Jody Barnes and of Pied Productions. And please hit him up if you're looking for a pied or an albino. Hang on a second. I'm going to make it through like the last few minutes of this show, crunching his ice. Give my throat a rest. Thanks a lot, guys. I don't know who I have Tuesday. If you have an off-topic person for me, throw it my way. Let me ask some poor soul that went to Tinley this weekend to do my Tuesday show, because next week is basement pythons. All right. I'm done. All right. See you guys. Love you guys. Good night.